Yes, sir. You know. Good morning, everybody. Once again, shout out to everybody out there. Good morning. Welcome to another Sunday morning rants. Sunday morning edition. It's a Mother's Day edition. It's a special day today, man. So once again, off the top, let's shout out and thank all the moms out there, man. Once again, happy Mother's Day to my mom. Happy Mother's Day to my wife, man. All the mothers out there, man, off the jump, man. So like I said, it's going to be a special edition out here, man. We doing this one for the moms out there. All the moms out there, we doing this one for y'all, man. So again, shout out to all you guys out there. You got my man, Bizarre video footage in the building with me again this morning, man. You know, he hit me up last night and was like, yo, I think I got to go live with you this morning. And I was like, of course, we're going to do it again this morning. And we got a lot to talk about this morning. Once again, shout out to my man, AOH.
Good morning. It's a Sunday fun day for me. I'm gonna go to the store to replace my coffee with champagne. I guess the series isn't officially over yet, but it kind of is.
Absolutely, man. Shout out to AOH, man, again, joining us in another morning. I think we were just here together not that long ago. So again, shout out to all you guys for coming through early in the morning. Aisa Lasty, shout out to you for coming through this morning. My man 20K, what up? Shout out to you. Breaking news, first father and son duo to get swept. Shout out to Ivan 1294, Chris Garcia, Laguna B. Waiting for the sciatica to flare up. Exactly. A shout out to Italy. He's out there represent Italy. The Jesse Glassaget, as always, coming through. Go Fly. Cali Young. Get them rooms ready. West Side 9032. Shout out to you. Lynetta 402. Once again, Renee's always there. John Freeman, good morning again to all you guys, man. Happy Mother's Day to everybody out there. Like I said, shout out to all the moms. Treehouse, TG, Machiavelli the Don. Once again, good morning, Somewhat Aussie. Good morning to all you guys. I see you guys a lot out there. Everybody talk about the brooms, man. Remember, it ain't over yet, but it's looking like it's over. If said, shout out to you once again, coming through. Good morning, Anthony Mackey. Shout out to you. Who Oracle? Andrew Music, Bandhead, Obelix, CMM, Rhino Caligula. Shout out to you, man, for coming through early. Brian Scott, El Rico. Thank you, Dangerous Captain Charisma, Bookie Allen. Yo, good morning to all you guys. Everybody coming through. Terrence Potts, Troy Smith, Ben Raines, Chip Ferguson, Joe Moe. Shout out to all you guys, man. Like I said, man, good morning, man. Man, I don't even know where to start this morning. I don't know where to start.
Yeah, I don't either. It's a lot of people come out. A lot of people come out and get happy when LeBron gets his due. And that says a lot. And I know haters will just be like, oh, man, you guys are really haters. It's like, you have to have really effed up as a professional athlete for people to get this excited for you, not just to lose, but to basically get what you deserve.
You know, funny that you started off with that, AOH, and that's funny that you say that because I wrote that down because I specifically want you to mention and talk about the quote-unquote joy that people get watching someone like LeBron James go through these kinds of things the way that he goes through that. And why is it? Like you said, it's not because people are quote-unquote hating on LeBron James. It's because the true fans of basketball have seen what LeBron James has done to the sport, has done to the league over the years. And once again, his fans continue to promote him. ESPN continues to promote him in a way that's not accurate. So again, they use these narratives to tear down the other great players. So when you see LeBron James go through stuff like this, when they're telling you fifth ring loading, when they're telling me to shut my channel down after LeBron James wins his fifth ring this season, when you're hearing all those kinds of things and guys like Shannon Sharp and Nick Ryder out there creating all these narratives before the games are even played, when he starts going through this, I tell you, when the going gets rough, when the going gets tough, what are you going to do, LeBron James? You're going to make excuses. So absolutely, AOH, I find it very funny and interesting that LeBron James is getting all this coming back on him as usual.
And I haven't checked the feeds this morning, but I'm sure there's new excuses. I want to remind everybody that when Jordan was on his second three-peat, that I was rooting against him. But I never hated him. I was never like, man, this guy's going to get what he deserves. I was just always a rooting for the underdog type of person. Yeah.
Yo, you're in my mind this morning, AOH. I wrote that down. I wrote down about how people rooted against Michael Jordan in certain parts and times of his career. But we mentioned this before. Why were they rooting against Michael Jordan? Not because he destroyed the league, not because he was embarrassing the game, not because he didn't show up and play and respect the game and play with a love. Why? Because Michael Jordan was winning. Because of the grace of Michael Jordan, man, and people getting tired of Michael Jordan coming up in their building and breaking their hearts, right? And beating their teams. You wanted to see someone else win. You wanted to see someone be Michael Jordan, man, because he was so great. But these people out here are rooting against LeBron James because he's embarrassed the league, man. I told you, they're rooting at LeBron James out of shame, man. People don't respect LeBron James.
Correct. And why should they? Other than being told to, which, if you do things because you're told to and don't put any thought into it, well, I don't even know what to say. That brings me.
Well, I thought that was a great way to start, like you said, talking about people. And I mean, you know how many comments I saw last night? How many people I see in the chat right now? Once again, shout out to you guys this morning. Happy Mother's Day again. You guys know it says a special Mother's Day edition that me and AOH are bringing you this morning. So shout out to all the moms out there, man. I told you we doing this one for the moms this morning, man. And you talk about people and what they've been saying, and people talking about the brooms, and laughing about LeBron James and his son, and how the first father and son duo to be swept in a playoff series, and all these things. These are the narratives that you throw back at the LeBron James fans. These are the narratives that they've been using all along. Oh, LeBron James, the first father and son duo with an assist in the game. Oh, LeBron James, the first father and son duo to play in the playoff game. Right? They always want to do the celebration, but they don't want to talk about the other stuff. And when I saw LeBron James Jr. in the game last night, I knew it was over.
Oh, I thought that the main news feed this morning would be that Bronny shot 100%. Not the 40-point blowout or whatever it was, but let's focus on Bronny going 1 for 1.
Well, it's actually pretty funny, Airways. This morning I saw ESPN had a clip, and what they were highlighting was an excuse. They're talking about LeBron James did not go to the free throw line until the fourth quarter. And I found that very funny because the last time that we saw you guys, the last time that we actually all talked on the live show on Friday night, we talked about the quote-unquote huddle between LeBron James, Austin Reeves, the Lakers, and the referees after the game, right? And we talked about what that could mean going forward into a game 3. Well, what happened last night after the huddle between the Lakers and the referees? The Lakers actually were getting a lot of benefit of the doubt calls. Austin Reeves was throwing elbows all over the goddamn place. And once again, the Lakers went to the free throw line way more often than the OKC Thunder did. But it still wasn't going to be enough to beat a team like the Thunder. And ultimately, like my man Ron Burgundy said, it escalated very, very quickly. Because I want all the LeBron James fans out there, I want them to understand something. I watched every single minute of that game last night. Over the first 3 games, I've probably watched 2 full games. I watched the entire full game last night. I watched the entire second half of game 2, and I watched the entire second half entire first half of game 2, and the entire second half of game 1. So I've watched most of these games, man. And once again, man, these excuses they coming up with don't add up.
Yeah, it's funny. Like I told you, I'm not in it to gloat. Once I saw that the Thunder had it in hand, I turned it off and went for a run. Once things are the way that they should be, kind of like Miami, when Miami got what they deserved in 2011, I didn't spend my time on social media gloating. I was like, okay, all is right in the world, and this is how it should be. But I also want to, what you said at the beginning of your little rant there, is these fanboys who talk all this nonsense and they just put themselves out there. Because when you talk shit, you put a target on your back, or at least you used to. It used to mean something. If you're going to talk shit, you better be able to back it up. And if you don't, you deserve to get targeted.
Exactly.
Now these guys talk all this nonsense and celebrate nonsense. And when you throw it back at them, they play the victim card. It's like, no. You don't get to run your mouth and then play the victim card.
Exactly, Airways. That's when we talk about taking your ass whooping like a man. And listen, if you're going to run your mouth and all of a sudden someone punch in your mouth, you can't turn around and start crying about why someone hit you in the mouth, man, or about being punched in the mouth. I told you, man, when you think about last night, one of the plays that I put out last night, one of the short clips I put out, LeBron James in the third quarter, and he was in, this is a play where LeBron James slapped his hands on the floor. I mean, my goodness, dude, we're slapping the floor now like a 7-year-old. But this is what LeBron James did. It was the third quarter with 8 minutes left in the third quarter. The Lakers were down by 2 points, and LeBron James is standing on the other side of the court. Dude, you're at home in game 3 of the second round, and you want me to believe that watching you in that moment, because remember, guys, it's not just that moment. This is one moment in many, many moments consistently that we've seen LeBron James. In this moment, you're just standing there, not getting back in a playoff scenario against the defending champions down by 2 points, and you give up a slam dunk to Chet Holmgren because you're standing on the other side of the court crying.
And what's that tell you about somebody? Like he's there about himself. He's like, let's make sure that I don't look bad. He's not thinking, what do I have to do for my team to win? What can I change for the team to win? How can I sacrifice or give a little bit more? He's like, make sure you're in the right spot so that you aren't humiliated, or so that ESPN's going to be able to cover for you. He's not doing the extra. He's not doing the extra. He's not shifting. He's not going to the bench and saying, hey, coach, I got him. Let me on him, or anything like that. No. It's like, just make sure that I'm not blamed tomorrow.
Right. Exactly. As long as he doesn't get the blame. Shout out to you guys coming through. I said on a Mother's Day, good morning again, or good afternoon, or whatever time it is where you guys are coming from. I see a couple of supers out here. Once again, shout out to the Shane 209 for coming through this morning. Good morning, gentlemen. This is why I'm a hockey fan. They play the same amount of games and don't sit here and don't complain and don't sit out and don't sit and complain like this trash NBA era. Shout out to all the hockey fans out there. I never grew up watching or even playing hockey, but I do know, I knew kids that played hockey, and I respect hockey players in general. So shout out to everybody that plays hockey, man, because that is a legit sport.
What's the oldest hockey player, or what are some of the guys that got known for playing hockey late into the late age? Any idea?
I'm not sure. I would love somebody to shout out some of the great hockey players that played late into their age. But I do want to shout out recently the point that we made before about the longevity stuff. I'm assuming the point that's always made about the longevity, because if you guys remember recently, that guy PK Subban, if I remember his name correctly. Yeah. He mentioned Alex Ovechkin, and they brought up Alex Ovechkin and compared him to LeBron James because they were saying that Alex Ovechkin, in fact, was playing at a high level that late in his career. So they were giving Alex Ovechkin a lot of credit, essentially, by saying, oh, wow, he's like LeBron James. He's playing at this level in this sport at this age, right? And PK Subban said, hold the hell on here. How dare you disrespect Alex Ovechkin and comparing him to what he's doing in hockey to what LeBron James has been doing in his NBA career, going out there load managing, sitting out games, flopping around the basketball court. He said Alex Ovechkin ain't out there load managing. He ain't out there flopping on the ice. He said, I told you, he was offended that they were comparing Ovechkin that way to LeBron James.
Rightfully so. And if I recall correctly, Windhorst, I think it was Windhorst, tried to say, well, they're on skates, they're not running, or something like that. And like, man, do you want to be a 41-year-old on a basketball court, or out where people are trying to take your head off?
You know how hard it is to ice skate? You know how hard it is to ice skate at that level? Yo, listen, people need to come to some kind of understanding here. When I talk to people about playing a sport when we're kids growing up, it gives you a certain level of understanding. If you understand what it takes to ice skate, if Brian Windhorst wants to put himself on some ice skates, on some ice, listen, my man, and the level that these guys are ice skating at, the speed that they're skating at, the way that they're able to stop on a dime, doing these cuts, they're doing these on thin blades. I mean, this stuff is insane. To knock these guys and act as if ice skating, or they're on ice skates as if they're out there, doing something that's easy. I mean, you have to know the prerequisite just to play the sport is you have to be able to ice skate at a high level. What the hell are we talking about here?
Yeah. Yeah.
This is insane, man. Insane stuff. If you played hockey as a kid, then you would understand. I didn't play hockey, but I understand it. I understand ice skating. And I tell you right the hell now, that stuff ain't easy. It's like we talked about, I put a poll out on my channel about swimming. Right? And I told about swimming. I told about there's two differences here when you think about swimming. Swimming and being able to swim and knowing how to swim. A lot of people know how to swim. Yeah, I know how to swim, but could you actually go out there and physically freaking do it? You might think you can ice skate. Can you go out there and do it, though? And can you go out there with these guys chasing you around with sticks and chasing you around trying to knock you the hell out? Hell no, you can't.
Cover for me. Cover for me for about a minute. I got to move.
That was insane, man. I can't believe people. They don't respect sports. I tell you, people don't respect sports, man. So we have to understand some of this stuff, man. Like I said, there's levels to this stuff, man. Levels, all right? Listen, I never even played hockey, man. So I understand there's levels to sports. Again, there's something else that I wanted to mention about the Lakers and the excuses that they continue to make for the Lakers, ESPN, the broadcasters. Talked about, they mentioned several times last night that LeBron James had not gone to the free throw line yet in the game. But when I talked about the excuses, we have to understand, listen, the Oklahoma City Thunder, again, off the top, have not played great basketball. To me, they've been playing better and better as the series has gone on. But SGA has not been MVP level. They're missing their second best player also. So we know the Lakers are without Luka Doncic. Because make no mistakes about it, at the end of this series, that is what LeBron James and the LeBron James fans, guys like Shannon Sharp, they're going to hang their hat on Luka Doncic not playing a single game in this series.
I don't know why that would be important since LeBron James is still a top 8 player in the league.
Right. He was ranked number 8 coming into the season. I mean, SGA is not even the leading scorer on the OKC Thunder in this series. It's actually Chet Holmgren, but by a small, very thin margin. But nonetheless, Chet Holmgren is the leading scorer for the OKC Thunder through the first 3 games. So like we've said, when you think about what SGA is doing, he's averaging 21 points a game on 45% shooting. That's not SGA-type numbers. That's nowhere close to MVP numbers that he was putting up in the regular season. So when you think about what he's doing, also turning the ball over a certain level in some of these games, and we talked about the overall consistency of the OKC Thunder's defense, that is what's been going on here. The fouls, the huddling with the refs, all the other excuses, it's not going to take away from the OKC Thunder's defense. And what we have to understand, and what I noticed over the first 3 games, especially over the last 2 games, is that this has been a series, a tale of 2 halves. The OKC Thunder have jumped and destroyed the Lakers in the second half of the series. So much so, I wrote some numbers down here real quickly on AOH. The OKC Thunder have outscored the LA Lakers in the second half by 54 points. All right? 54 points. That's insane when you think about that. The LA Lakers have not gone over 50 points in the second half of any of these games. In the first game, the Lakers scored 37 points in the second half. In the second game, they scored 49 points in the second half. And in last night, they scored 49 points again in the second half. All meanwhile, the Thunder have put up 47 in the first game, 68 in the second half in the second game, and 74 last night in the second half of the third game. So we talk about wearing on a team and the defense, again, making you guys have to go out there and earn it every single play. You got to earn your baskets against a team like the Thunder. You're not going to get some easy baskets every time down the court and think you're just going to score these points and get these foul calls. That's going to call it a day. That's what's going on right now for the Lakers.
All right, I want to say something about that because I'm pretty sure I heard it was either Chuck or Kinney pointed out exactly what you said. They saw the pattern already. They're like, the Lakers haven't scored enough in second halves for me to believe that they're going to win this game, even though they have the lead at halftime. And if someone can see that pattern in how your team scores or behaves in second halves, the coach should, and the coach should be able to make some adjustments. If it was any other coach, that coach is fired this offseason because coaches get blamed all the time now, whether they deserve the blame or not. But now we have a coach under LeBron James's protection. He effed up the playoffs last season. He's showing no adjustments. All he's doing is complaining and making theatrics. You can get, I guess that's what it was. They brought JJ to be part of the shit show of the new Lakers soap opera. But coaching adjustments, tell me about the coaching adjustments.
Right. Exactly. That's another big point.
Is he going to get fired, though?
Absolutely not. No, because remember, even JJ Redick, I believe this season is going to have the scapegoat of Luka Doncic not playing in the series. They're going to listen. all the Laker LeBron James people, all the, like I said, the Laker, media members like Brian Windhorst, all the people that are riding the LeBron James and Laker bandwagon all season about how they're contenders, even guys like Stephen A. Smith, who we mentioned, called the Lakers contenders. He's going to always fall back and say, well, I said the Lakers were contenders when Luka Doncic was there. When Luka Doncic was there, I said, you think that the Lakers are Luka Doncic away from being the Thunder? Get the hell out of here. Once again, they're not losing the series because Luka Doncic is not there. Again, the Thunder are not at full strength either, and they have not even played good in this series. Come on, man. They were good last night in the second half, but they haven't been good before that. To me, man, they've been getting by on their defense.
But we didn't know who Lou Dort was or who Mitchell was until they developed with the Thunder. You know who Shea was, you know who Chet was, or who Chet's supposed to be. But my point is, everybody just, when it comes to the Lakers, all of a sudden their roster is shit and everyone else's is made up of the miracle team. No, they became that team. They became that team because they don't have a disruptive cancer tumor on their team who makes sure that they never develop chemistry.
Right.
They never develop confidence in themselves. They're just out there to be blamed when the team ultimately fails again.
I mean, that's a great point. If you think about last night, for example, and you think about the comment that I put up there from Import AI, he talks about, blaming guys like Thero and Kleber that played last night. Surprisingly, those guys were actually playing minutes because someone like DeAndre Ayton was non-existent last night. But the problem is, like I've told you, for the LeBron James fans, when they talk about blaming other guys, right, they put these guys in, but they don't put these guys or use these guys throughout the season. Right? Oftentimes, these guys are not playing consistently. So again, how are they going to be there? See, that's why they're not there for you. I've talked about this many times. The great players. It doesn't matter their age, their attrition that they've been through. They still have the savvy, the understanding, the high IQ that they keep telling us. LeBron James, he's supposed to be the smartest player ever. Smartest player ever. Not just the smartest player of the last 5 seasons, the smartest player since last week, the smartest player since 2010. He's supposed to be the highest IQ ever. You're telling me you can't figure out these other guys and get them and ingratiate them throughout the season so that they can be there for you at the end? They can be there for you for a couple of minutes? Look at some of the guys that were playing minutes in the finals for the freaking Bulls. You had guys like Bob Hansen playing freaking minutes in the finals. Guys like Judd Bushler playing meaningful minutes. Cliff Livingston playing minutes. Scott Williams and Bryson Dele playing meaningful minutes. Randy Brown, Scott Burrell. Why were they able to be there? Because they were there all season freaking long, not only in the season on the games on the court, but also in practice, man. So you're prepared.
No. It's because it was a super team and Jordan was just blessed to have all the best players ever, even on the bench. Didn't you know that? Hey, let's go back to Maxey for a little bit. Maxey was getting significant minutes on that Mavericks team that was a contender while Doncic was still there. He goes to the Lakers and doesn't play for shit. I mean, I've said it many times, their bench has guys that used to be starters on other teams. And if not starters, then guys that were getting, 18, 19 minutes a game. And go to the Lakers and they're so stacked that they don't go in at all, or else the coach doesn't know how to make the most of them. Well, let me ask you a question though. If you were in that situation and your coach,
it's not the Steam engine.
What's up, Speam? Always talking shit. Would you like to get put in that situation? Because JJ is just like, well, fuck it, we're getting destroyed. I guess I'll let you guys go on the floor, and it's the playoffs. Maybe that makes you feel good. Maybe you're like, oh, good, I got on the floor during the playoffs. Or maybe you're like, no, that's kind of messed up, dude. What you put me in so that the Thunder can finish mopping us, while the guys that got us in this situation go and hide on the bench. I don't know. I guess you could argue it either way. I'm curious what you would do. Would you want to be on the floor since it's the playoffs, or would you be like, fuck you, dude, you should have put me in earlier?
Well, like I said, I think they absolutely want to be on the court. If you're a professional basketball player, these guys want to compete. It's the playoffs. Like I said, you're playing against the defending champions at home. You're in a do-or-die scenario, being down 2-0. No team in NBA's history has come back from 3-0, let alone beat the defending champs down 3-0. So in that regard, absolutely. The problem again goes this: how are you mentally going into this scenario? You might think you're prepared, but you're not prepared. And you know why you're not prepared for that scenario? Because your team has not prepared you for this. JJ Redick didn't prepare you for this. Your leadership did not put you in the proper position. So sometimes we think we're prepared for something. Maybe we took a test at some point in our life, and you thought you were prepared for that test. But why did you think that way? Because everybody was telling you, yeah, you're prepared. But you really didn't put the work in. You really didn't prepare, but everybody told you you were. So when your leadership is LeBron James, who again has surrounded himself his entire career with yes men, with everyone that tells LeBron James, yes, you made the right play even when he did it, how the hell are you going to go out there and even think that you're not prepared for these scenarios? So yeah, you're going out there thinking, I'm ready to go, coach, put me in there. And listen, the dude Thero made some good plays, but he also made some bonehead plays last night. He was what? Inconsistent. That's what the LeBron James teammates are. Kleber, right? Where's Vanderbilt? He don't even play now. Where's Don't Connect? Don't Connect, don't get no shot. You waste a draft pick on Don't Connect, but you play LeBron James Jr. more than Don't Connect. It doesn't make any sense.
No, that alone should put JJ on the chopping block. But the twisted thing is that that's exactly why he's there, because LeBron knew he would do that for him. Fuck this more talented rookie, or I guess now he's a sophomore. Play my son instead. Yeah, that's messed up. Shout out to Meg. I see your chat.
Yep.
Agree. I want to. You touched on something that I actually wanted to talk about also there in the leadership, and you know, I used to be so paranoid about the league rigging things for LeBron that it's like, man, is there still a chance that the real story here is LeBron's the GOAT because he came back from 3-0 down? You know, the answer is just look at LeBron out there. Like, nothing about him tells you that this dude is going to lead a team back. He's not going to do anything heroic. The dude is a sniveling, cowardly, crying, excuse-making bitch. It's not like that does not bring you back against the odds. Man. And
Nope, not at all.
I don't know if you caught my Wilbon members only rant, but he said he and oh God, what's the other dude's name? They said that Luka rubbed off on LeBron, and that's why LeBron looks and is behaving the way he's behaving now. They haven't been on the same team for 2 full seasons. LeBron's been in the league 23 years. Luka's been in the league 8 years. And they shifted LeBron James's legendary crybaby flopping behavior onto the new guy. But my follow-up point was, they'll always credit LeBron for something he doesn't deserve and then let him off the hook for other things. Because do you remember what they said before Luka got there? Maybe LeBron's influence is going to be what shapes Luka up. Maybe LeBron's influence is going to be what shapes DeAndre Ayton up into being the best form of DeAndre Ayton and the get thin and be in shape version of Luka. Okay, so you think that LeBron James is such a leader that he's going to positively influence these guys. And then the next time you talk, LeBron James is such a copycat non-leader that he's flopping because of the new guy? Which one is it? Those are completely different versions of the same person that they're talking about. Leader or copycat? Leader or copycat?
Well, hey, wait, let me go back to the first thing you started off with here. When you started talking about the 3-0 and how they could promote LeBron James to come back from a 3-0 and, all these kinds of things. That stuff was funny. When you think about being down 2, the Lakers were last night. Let's think and focus on last night for example, right now here, and think about LeBron James and the player I just talked about. When you talk about the scenario that the Lakers were facing last night, regardless of LeBron James' age, any of this stuff, LeBron James' leadership should have put the Lakers in a scenario, in a mindset, a mind frame, where they know they have to win this game. At least they have to go out there thinking that they have to this has to be their best shot to come out, go here and win a game. They got to come out here, get some home cooking. Because if you really think about how the playoffs are thought about overall historically, it's always been a thing where the series never really started until the home team lost the game. It didn't matter what the playoff seedings were. People always said, listen, man, the series don't really officially start until the home team loses a game. So the Lakers, LeBron James should have known this. Guys like JJ Redick, this should have been the mindset of the Lakers. So when I'm watching the entire game, I'm pausing it, I rewinded it, I watched it many, many times over again in some of these plays. When you look at a lot of the moments throughout the game for someone like LeBron James as the leader of the team, there were many instances there where he did not lead by example and show the effort and show what it was going to take to beat a team like the freaking Thunder. You think that you can lollygag for one or two plays in that game to try to beat that team? You have to be damn near flawless to beat them even when they're not playing good. And LeBron James should have known this, but yet and still, you're always going to fall back on the excuses. So LeBron James' mindset is, let me chase my numbers and let me worry about the box score. So at the end of the day, they'll blame DeAndre Ayton. They'll blame the bench guys. They'll blame Austin Reeves, who wasn't great last night again. But at least I saw Austin Reeves going out there trying to do some things, trying to create plays, even though, like I told you, he was doing a lot of flailing and elbowing all over the place. But at the end of the day, like we said, man, the last live, the Thunder are just a better team, and they're beating the Lakers because they're better. The Lakers are acting like a bunch of babies, and they came out with no fire last night in the second half. No fire when you're back against them. They had the lead for the second game in a row going into the half. They would be the Thunder the second game in a row, guys, going into the half in back-to-back games, and they came out with no fire again.
You know, the fanboys and their crybaby. The fanboys and they're crying. They're going to be like, oh, it's not fair that we faced the Thunder. What? Yeah, I mean, at this point, they expect the easiest path. They're not even ashamed that they get the easiest path. They expect the easiest path. Well, you were gifted the Rockets in the first round. Because guess what? If you'd faced anyone, not just the Thunder, anyone but the Rockets, you're going home in the first round. And you wouldn't be sitting here pretending that facing the Thunder was the problem. Nope. You got a bad, cowardly leader, and anyone but the Rockets, who have one of LeBron James's fucking clients on their team sabotaging them. Anyone else, you're gone in the first round.
And we talked about that, and that's a great point again, because we talked and we mentioned how LeBron James
take it all the
and
way
the Lakers.
back.
What happened? What'd you say?
Oh, it was somebody else.
Oh, my bad. Yeah, no, I was saying that we said before how this was the perfect scenario for the Lakers in a first-round matchup. You didn't want to match up with the Denver Nuggets. The Lakers should have been a 6 or 7 seed. Without all these free throws all season long, the Lakers in the 6 or 7 seed. They're playing the Minnesota Timberwolves in the first round. They're playing the Thunder maybe in the first round, right? They're playing the San Antonio Spurs maybe in the first round. That's what they would have had to face, really, in actuality. Any one of those teams would have beat the Lakers down the first round. But they got a Houston Rockets team that had a cowardly leader just like their cowardly leader.
I want to talk about the LeBron James not getting to the free throw line enough bit. Because
let me read a couple of supers real quick, LOH.
Good plan.
Just so we don't get too far behind. A shout out to the Jesse Gladsaget for coming through as always. He says, the Stans went from peacocks after beating the pathetic Rockets, like we mentioned, to cockroaches scurrying back to their holes after getting beat down by a real team.
Yeah.
Yo, we just talked about that. Shout out to Jesse Gladsaget, because that's right on time, and that's the facts. They were talking, remember that? That was when all the predictions were coming out. Oh, LeBron James does this, he's greater than Michael Jordan. If LeBron James does that, he's greater than Mike. I mean, like, they were coming up with all these things. They were hyping up. They had people in my comment section. Everybody was feeling themselves, and I kept telling people, man, you let me know when the Lakers gonna go out here and actually win a championship. Let me know. Wake me up when LeBron James gets his 5th ring loading. Nonsense. Shout out to Will N 8664 coming through with the super. He says, who is a better father-son duo, Bron and Bronny Jr. or Delonte West and Brian? Oh, my goodness gracious. Oh, man. Shout out to Will N. Because I don't know. That's actually we have to actually see that on the basketball court, man. LeBron James playing on both sides. Oh my goodness. Shout out to Taranovich for coming through. Sciatica, big toe, or his bald spot. Which phantom injury will Abozo call upon to sit out the last game of the sweep to protect his legacy? Interesting. Do you think LeBron James will sit out the next game? It's a good question. That's a good. Oh, shout out to Dallas for coming through. Once again, man, like I said, shout out for you guys for coming through on a Sunday morning. Like I said, happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. AOH, where AOH go? AOH, you back? Shout out to Dallas for coming through. Dallas, what up, man? Shout out to you for coming through. Now they're crying about Ayton, who's been one of the more consistent players, and also who was LeBron guarding. JJ Redick should be fired for the underdevelopment of Connect. Absolutely, Dallas. And I mentioned Don Connect a little while ago, and you're right on the money when you talk about DeAndre Ayton. And we mentioned DeAndre Ayton. Remember, me and AOH live streamed the first game against the Houston Rockets. And we talked about how DeAndre Ayton in that game, in the series overall, was very impactful down low as a presence for the Lakers versus the Rockets and someone like Sengun, who was being intimidated by DeAndre Ayton. He actually was having an intimidation factor. It wasn't necessarily about the numbers he put up. It was about the presence he actually had. Now, when you step it up to a whole nother level, you're going against the defending champions, and DeAndre Ayton's not going to be the reason that you win the series or the reason why you lose the series. But he needs to be a guy that's supposed to be there consistently for you. But again, they're going to try to use the other guys, the role guys, as the reason why the Lakers are losing, when in actuality, the reason why they're losing is because they're not better than the Thunder. So again, it's not about them losing, it's about
I don't know. Remember, Bill Winnington carried Jordan. So I don't know why LeBron couldn't. And Longley, between Longley and Winnington, Jordan had an unfair amount of help at the center position.
He did. You're right. I mean, a lot of those guys I mentioned earlier, Bison Dele and the Stacey Kings, the Will Produce, all those guys was getting in there. They were the ones leading the way. Judd Bush, all the other guys that were journeymen before they came to Chicago Bulls. Because remember, the reason why we have to understand about a lot of the players on a lot of those teams that they try to promote the Bulls in a different light is those guys were journeymen. So when we talk about journeymen, you're looking for a home. So when I talk about sacrificing the great players, think about a lot of the great players and a lot of the guys that sacrificed to play alongside some of the great players, right? Guys that were looking for a role, they were looking for a home, and they were able to find that because the great players sacrificed, right? They allowed their help to help them. That's how you win. You have to sacrifice and remember, they always used to call them the quote unquote other guys, the other guys. And that's what Michael Jordan and the Bulls were winning. They were winning with guys that were other guys. Other guys. Even Ron Harper was a journeyman. Even Rodman was almost considered a journeyman at this point. Guys who were looking for a home. They were looking for a role, and they found a home and a role.
Rodman's career was going to be over with. He got rescued.
He was looking for a home. Looking for a home, man. The guy, he got paid. He found a home. He enhanced his career. Remember, you would get enhanced playing with Michael Jordan. No one gets enhanced playing with LeBron James. Your career is devalued playing with LeBron. If Dennis Rodman went and played with LeBron James, he would have been devalued to nothing. He would have taken all the blame. Are you kidding me? They would have been, look how many times Rodman got ejected. Look how many technical fouls Rodman caused LeBron James. Look at all the games that he wasn't there for LeBron James. You think LeBron James is supposed to go to Vegas and get Dennis Rodman? He's not supposed to do that. That's what they would have been saying about, LeBron James.
A lot of us like Rodman for his effort, especially compared to today's players, he's likable. Period. But back when he was in San Antonio, that dude was not being painted in a good light. And I think most, even the announcers and coaches, they would have been happy to see him out of the league. They're like, okay, we're done with this guy and his crazy antics. What happens? The Bulls take a risk on him. Yep. Instead of people talking about, wow, there's something to be said about a team that can use a guy like that. Instead, it's unfair that you had Dennis Rodman.
And AOH, I want everyone out there to understand, because most everybody out there understands. This is more so for the LeBron James fans. I want them to understand something about what Michael Jordan understood about Dennis Rodman and why Dennis Rodman is respected and recognized the way that he is for his career. The reason why Dennis Rodman ultimately ended up on the Chicago Bulls is not because they were able to outbid other teams and that, they're the Bulls, and he had some kind of under dealings under the table with Dennis Rodman. Remember, they went to Michael Jordan, right, as the leader, and they went to him and they said, listen, what do you think about us bringing in Dennis Rodman, man? We're thinking about maybe, seeing if we can bring him in. And Michael Jordan was going to be the deciding factor here. And what did Michael Jordan do? Because he's a true professional. And this is what I talk about when I mention the word sacrifice. What did Michael Jordan do? He let his help him. So he understood and respected Dennis Rodman as a competitor. He knew that Dennis Rodman was a risk, but he was willing to take the risk because of respect of Dennis Rodman's game and what he brought to the game. So he put his personal feelings aside. He put all of that aside, the fouls, the dirty plays, all those years against the Pistons. He took all of that, put it aside, and was like, you know what? This guy can actually help me win a championship. And I know that he's going to bring it on the basketball court. So if I can get him to focus, then we could do something out there. And Michael Jordan, damn it, went out there and won 3 straight with that man. And there were many times where I saw Michael Jordan have to physically grab Dennis Rodman and reel this grown man in from destroying whatever the Bulls were trying to do.
You need to read some more supers?
Absolutely. Let me read a couple more real quick, man. Shout out to you guys for coming through. Once again, happy Mother's Day, man. Shout out to Home Ping slash LeBron. I don't know what's going on. I'm no fanboy, and I'm unbiased. Lakers were clearly winning until the refs put on their SGA sneakers. Here we go. You want them to pay AOH? They paying. Besides, OKC versus Lakers is closer than expected. What do you have to say to that? Goodness gracious, man. I don't know if that's just humping LeBron or home ping LeBron. Listen, man, that whole damn title is borderline, is questionable at best. But let's address the comment.
That's some mental institution shit right there.
Yeah. All right. Listen. Airweight, you
listen,
said it, right?
I understand that the final score is a little bit skewed because once it's out of hand, you don't know how hard they're trying. Neither team has their starters in, but it had to get to that point for the coaches to put the second string and third string in. Don't say it was close. Don't say these massive margin wins are close.
Hey, wait, you know what's really sad here is, again, shout out to Humping LeBron for coming through. I want to educate you because I like to educate the LeBron James fans, all right? And I want you to understand something. I want you to think about it like this, all right?
You can't learn.
I want him to vision this as far as the OKC Thunder's point of view here. I'm going to put some perspective on this for you. A lot of the LeBron James fans, they talk about a word like favored. And they like to use, LeBron's not favored. LeBron's favored. He wasn't favored. So he's the underdog. And I want you guys to understand something and what it means to be the favorite, the quote-unquote favorite to win something. And when you talk about pressure and expectations and everyone coming after you all season long and all these things as a defending champion. What the OKC Thunder have been dealing with all season long, what they've dealt with, all throughout the playoffs, and what they're going to continue to deal with is the reality that they're the defending champions. And what they're also dealing is, once again, the expectations and the pressure to go again and beat the Lakers by 30 points every single night. Now, last night, they pretty much beat the Lakers down the way you would expect them to beat the Lakers down. But we mentioned off the top, humping LeBron, that the OKC Thunder have not been great in this series. Absolutely no doubt about it. The great teams are not going to be, quote-unquote, great every single series. But what do the great teams do? They find ways to win, my man. So when you think about what they've done what? They found ways to win. But not only have they found ways to win, they found ways to beat the Lakers by double digits in every one of these games. I mentioned the destruction in the second half of these games. And the fact that the Lakers have been getting the whistle in their favor. Have they not? Yes, they have. And when you're talking about an SGA whistle, what SGA whistle are you talking about? SGA was in foul trouble in game 2. The Lakers were up by 5. SGA goes to the bench, and all of a sudden, they go up by 13 points. So all these scenarios that you're talking about are, once again, narratives and lies that you guys continue to put out here, because the reality remains. You say that you're no fanboy and you're not unbiased, but yet again, you drop $5 to come out here and leave a comment, and you didn't say anything worth a damn after we've already broken down the facts here. So again, you're wasting the money right now talking about it's closer than expected, because it's not closer than expected if you actually watch the games. What you've seen and what you've noticed is that the OKC Thunder are clearly way superior and that they have a very deep team. And every single night, SJ can drop 10 points, and it's not going to make a damn difference when your boy LeBron James is out there playing 35 minutes a night and not getting back on defense. So I hope you got
He
your
sounds like someone
$5.
who was influenced by.
Oh my goodness gracious, man. So go ahead, AOH. Go ahead, man.
Well, I pointed out in game 2, the Lakers started getting a little chemistry and a little flow and a little ball movement when LeBron was on the bench. That's when they took the lead in game 2. So if this guy wants to come and say that the game's closer than we think, well, it was closer when LeBron wasn't in.
I mean, it's the facts, all right? It is the facts. It just certainly is. When you talk about what the Lakers, listen, in the playoffs, what happens in a playoff scenario, like I've talked about many times, again, a shout out to all you guys coming through on a Sunday morning with me and my man AOH, is that the playoffs, your weaknesses get highlighted in the playoffs even more. They're magnified. Why? Because the teams that you're going against, they game plan against your weaknesses. So a team like the Thunder, who's actually superior, we know, than the Lakers, right? They're going to game plan and do the things that the Lakers don't do well. They're going to attack those things. So what don't the Lakers do well? They don't play defense at a high level. So you see the Thunder continue to put pressure. Every player on the Thunder is aggressive against the Lakers. Everyone on the Thunder thinks they can take the Lakers off the dribble. Everyone on the Lakers on the Thunder thinks they can get to the hole on the Lakers defense. Everyone's shooting the ball with confidence against the Lakers, even though they're not playing their best brand of basketball. They're still going out there. Why? Because they're getting points off the defense. I want these guys to understand something. The guy who was talking about the game being closer than it was. Last night, at one point, I saw a stat go up that the OKC Thunder had 21 points off of 12 Laker turnovers. I believe at the end of the game last night, they finished with 30 points off of the Lakers' 21 turnovers. So when you talk about what they're doing on the court and being closer than it really is, it's really not. Those are the facts.
I would like to highlight a play at the end of the first half. I think JJ drew something up for LeBron to get the ball. And LeBron was wide open. And in my opinion, he arguably traveled, took a couple steps before he got his shot.
Yep.
It was an open shot. And he just fucking blew it. And is this when you guys are complaining that he didn't go to the free throw line? Who's going to send him to the free throw line? Like, they're not even bothering to guard him in those situations.
Nope.
Why do you expect him to magically appear at the free throw line when, unless he's doing the ass to the basket, slamming against a smaller defender, most of his shots are uncontested, including his dunks and layups? Why would he go? If you're going to cite or reference, oh, look, LeBron did drive. Well, kind of, if you count him running the baseline unguarded or cherry picking, just because the shot took place underneath the rim doesn't mean he was driving against a full paint of people. And you should assume that there was contact. Those aren't LeBron James's driving dunks at this stage in his career. He's not being challenged. You should not expect him to go to the free throw line just because he has layups and dunks when he's not being challenged most of the time.
Airways, you know what's funny that you're bringing that up is because, I mean, it's actually when you watch the games, he's actually the guy they forget about. They forget about LeBron James on the court. Like, they actually lose him on the basketball court. Like, they don't even know. Like, no one even cares. He's like the third or fourth guy on the game plan, apparently. No one's worried about LeBron. He stands in the corner like you always show. He'll be standing in the corner, and they have no idea that he's cutting sometimes behind them. They just forget about LeBron James out there on the court, man. It's actually laughable sometimes how he's treated out there on the court.
Yeah, listen, if there's even a shred of truth to what you just said, and you're saying that guy is the go-to guy or the star, or you're trying to make him the star, while you're pointing out that same guy is the guy that the other team like forgets about or leaves alone, you know, the Draymond Green of the Lakers. dude, of course you're not going to go very far. You're too busy trying to fool everybody into thinking that the player that everybody can afford to leave open is the man. That ain't going to work out well.
I tell you, man, it's so. Let me read a couple more of these supers real quick. Shout out to Terrence Potts for coming through once again, man. Good morning to you guys. Thank you for joining us. The truth is so bright, it's shining through all the blindfolds. The first DI athlete in history. What's ESPN gonna do when Lululemon retires, though? I like that, Lululemon. That's a new one. I might have to use that at a certain time in one of my videos. Lululemon. I remember my daughter was always hardcore into the Lululemon stuff, and I remember like laughing when I first found out how much and how expensive that clothing was. And my daughter wanted this stuff, and she was so young. And I was like, what does she want? And my wife's like, yeah, she wants some Lululemon, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, what the hell is that? And I didn't know what it was. And she said, oh, it's a clothing line. And I found out how much that stuff was. I was like, get the hell out of here. I was like, she don't lost her damn mind, this girl, man. Oh, goodness gracious. Lululemon LeBron. Goodness gracious. Let me read off another super here. Once again, shout out to Terrence Potts for coming through. David Knowles, good morning. Shout out to David Knowles for coming through. LeBron averaged 1.6 offensive rebounds, 1.4 blocks in previous two gentlemen sweeps. His series versus Rockets and OKC so far, 0.4 offensive rebounds, 0.2 blocks. So shout out to David Knowles for coming out here. I mentioned something about LeBron James and the offensive rebounds throughout the playoffs, and how LeBron James does not get offensive rebounds because he's never hustling out there the basketball court. So shout out to David Knowles for putting it out the numbers right there, 0.4 and 0.2 blocks for LeBron James, man, out there in the series against the OKC Thunder. See, these are the hustle stats that we're talking about. LeBron James ain't hustling out there. Yo, shout out to Armando Ruiz. Go ahead, Rich. Go ahead.
Speed Mention says a team that is being called Zesty is about to sweep the so-called GOAT. Don't let history ever forget that.
I mean, listen, when I saw SGA in that photo with the sports bra, type thing on, and some of the outfits that I seen, I mean, listen, I get it, man, right? See, my thing with some of these guys with some of the outfits is that I don't know why every time they come to a game, they have to dress like they go into the Met Gala. Like, it don't have to be some weird, nonsensical thing where you got like a clock on your head or something like that. Or, I saw a video one time of Will Smith's son, Jaden Smith, I think his name is. I saw a video of Will Smith's son one time at one of these galas wearing like a house on his head. I was like, yo, like, what are we doing right now? Like, I would, like, if I was there, like, in the video was funny because someone said that he looked stupid, right? And he said, thank you. And, it's just funny to me because what can you really say back to that when you're walking around with a house on your head and someone tells you that you look stupid? Like, what else could you say? No, I don't. Yeah, no, you actually, you look stupid. But for some reason, you guys are calling this fashion. So, again, that aside, my little rant on that, I just don't get, like I said, SGA, like I said, that's why they call them Zesty, man. Oh, Zesty SGA. That's why they be saying that stuff. It's just funny to me, man. Oh, God. Yo, shout out to Armando Ruiz. Yeah, shout out to Armando Ruiz for coming through. Watch any AOH video closely. Fans rise as LBJ shoots, then instantly sit in disappointment after the miss. A perfect microcosm of his career. That is a fantastic comment.
Mm-hmm.
That is absolutely fantastic. It's funny? It makes me immediately think of the last shot by Michael Jordan in the Last Dance scenario in '98 against the Utah Jazz. And we all know that freeze frame. And we all see the background shot, right? All the people standing up in Utah. Everyone's everybody knows. They know. They freaking know. And even that kid, remember the one kid's like this, the one kid in the Jordan jersey, I told you, I love that kid, man. He knows. Everyone knows. And again, they know. That's the difference between Michael Jordan and LeBron James. When you were growing up, when I was growing up watching Michael Jordan, guys, this is true story, guys. When I was growing up watching Michael Jordan, he gave us the sense that when he took a shot, it was always going to go in. No, Michael Jordan wasn't perfect. His shot didn't always go in. That was the sense and the feeling that he gave you. Say whatever you want about it, because that was Michael Jordan in these kinds of moments. That's not LeBron James, y'all. Shout out to Amano Ruiz, man. That's a fantastic point that you see from a lot of those LeBron James fans, man. They be getting all hyped up, and then it goes off the side of the backboard.
Well, you know what they've done? They've taken perverted them, that now just pretend like you're confident that it's going to go in, so that if it ever does go in, you can be like, yay, he's the GOAT. It's like, you know, like his 1-for-9 3-point shooting night. And in LeBron's mind, he's a great 3-point shooter. Like back in the day, if you were celebrating before the shot went in, that meant something. That actually showed confidence. Now everybody just stands up and starts cheering. Even the bench is up, ready to kiss LeBron's ass, no matter how bad he misses, no matter if it goes off the top of the backboard or air balls or the side of the backboard. But if by some fucking miracle it goes in, they just stay standing and act like they knew it was going to go in the whole time. It's weird. It's cowardly. It's fake. It's not authentic fan behavior.
Not at all. Once again, a shout out to all you guys out there. Like I said, I see a lot of you guys' comments. You guys talking about a lot of that Michael Jordan stuff, and we talked about the comparison to LeBron James in the last comment there, with how the fans react to LeBron James, how the fans react to Michael Jordan, how we reacted to Michael Jordan back in those days. Like I said, remember that video of Michael Jordan, the famous meme that came out, F them kids? You remember that scenario at his camp with Chris Paul, and Chris Paul put Michael Jordan on the spot in his camp in front of all those people and talked about, hey, man, if you can't make all these shots, then everyone gets free sneakers. If you miss a shot, I think he had to miss 2 shots going around the world, right? And Chris Paul put Michael Jordan in on the spot. And Michael Jordan proceeded to go out there and make all the shots. And at the very end, the last shot, he went to the free throw line. And Chris Paul proceeded to put his hands right in Michael Jordan's face as he's getting ready to shoot. So when you look at this, the scenario, he actually hits Michael Jordan's arms as he's going up for that free throw, and he makes all the shots, and they talk about F them kids because that's Michael Jordan. These are the scenarios we're talking about. When we laugh at the scenario of LeBron James in China, and you remember, because the reason why we bring up Michael Jordan a lot is because this is who they're comparing him to all the time. This is why we laugh at this stuff. What we're doing is showing and highlighting to how far away he is from Michael Jordan, let alone Larry Bird or Magic Johnson or Kareem Abdul-Jabbar or any of these other guys. When you talk about that scenario of LeBron James going to China and throwing up all those bricks, guys, once again, this is LeBron James in a nutshell. You think that that's Michael Jordan? Michael Jordan's going to do that? You think that Michael Jordan's going to go to some kind of place? It doesn't matter what country it is. It don't matter where it is. You think he's going to go out there and miss 11 straight shots? You think that Michael Jordan, again, is going to go anywhere? I don't give a damn where the hell it is. I don't give a damn what planet it's on. I don't give a damn. You think he's going to go anywhere and miss 11 straight shots? The hell he is, man. You think Larry Bird's going to go somewhere like that? And they'll be like, yo, we got Larry Bird coming out here. And Larry Bird's going to go somewhere and think he's going to go out there and miss 11 straight shots and then try to play it off like, yeah, I'm Larry Bird, man. Y'all know me, man. I'm Larry Bird, man. Like, come on. No, because you're not like them dudes, man. You think Kobe's going to go somewhere and not put on a show? Kobe Bryant went to the Rucker Park in a pair of Air Force Ones and proceeded to ball out on dudes. And what'd he do? Put on a show. Come on, man. Stop this nonsense out here.
I'm just doing a little scrolling, looking for excuses. So is DeAndre Ayton the number 1 scapegoat today?
Listen, I think they could definitely listen. DeAndre Ayton was bad last night, but what was really on DeAndre Ayton? What was he? He was inconsistent. That's LeBron James fans. LeBron James teammates. They're ultimately going to be inconsistent. This is why LeBron James needs the all-star players, the Dwayne Wades, and all these the Luka Doncic's. He needs all these guys, the Anthony Davis's, right, to cover up for all the other things that the role guys are not going to be able to do on a consistent basis. So Rui Hachimura has been fantastic throughout the entire playoffs. I actually saw a stat that Rui Hashimura, I wrote this down, Rui Hashimura has shot over 50% from three in 13 straight games from the regular season into the playoffs. 13 straight games. He's on a crazy tear right now, shooting over 50% from the three-point line. He's shooting 58% in the series from the three-point line. But they're never going to give Rui Hashimura any credit. If Rui Hashimura played with Michael Jordan back in the day, you would be hearing about Rui Hashimura now as the greatest three-point shooter in NBA's history.
I'm looking at this clip, and DeAndre Ayton is boxing somebody out, and LeBron James is in position to get the rebound and doesn't get it. Like, LeBron's not boxing anyone out. Listen, I'm not here to defend DeAndre Ayton, but I'm looking at the visual evidence to go with this claim to destroy DeAndre Ayton. LeBron James is doing nothing. He has no responsibility. He's not bodying anyone. He's standing there alone. All he had to do was actually jump toward the ball, and that rebound was his. DeAndre Ayton was busy pushing the Thunder rebounder out of the lane. Fucking Christ. He's got to do something, LeBron. How come none of you fanboys expect LeBron James to actually step up? All you do is give him excuses as if he's the GOAT. And yet, what did you see LeBron James do? Did you see LeBron James say, hey, I'm going to take over right here? Hey, I'll take that position. Hey, let me guard somebody harder. Let me not be the dude that goes into the corner and rests. You know how many times when the camera's coming back up the court, it's 4 Lakers and 5 Thunder until you finally get to the frame where LeBron James is in the corner fucking taking a break? Maybe don't be that guy, LeBron. Maybe don't be that guy if you want to complain about your teammates. Maybe be the guy that's picking somebody up full court instead of getting your extra rest in the corner. Jesus.
Yep, exactly. Wait, always in the corner.
Yeah, that's a mic drop off right there. I mean,
yeah, Game 3 of the playoffs at home.
Yeah, maybe step up. Maybe step up in front of the home crowd.
But no, you're out there lollygagging, like you said, and DeAndre Ayton's going to take the blame. Listen, like I told you guys, I watched every minute game. I watched the entire game. DeAndre Ayton was not great, but again, if we're going to blame other guys for not being quote-unquote great in every single game they play, then you're not watching basketball and you don't understand basketball. That's not how it works. Now, usually, historically, the role players normally play better at home. The Lakers were not great maybe at home as far as the role guys, DeAndre Ayton, maybe. But the other guys were doing things out there. The Lakers had the lead going into the half because the Thunder were not playing great basketball. And again, the Lakers were making shots, and the Lakers were out there doing plays, covering up for the lack of hustle from someone like LeBron James. Like I pointed out, in the third quarter, basketball is about the entire game. It's not about one quarter or one half. The entire game. And like we mentioned earlier, the Lakers are not coming out with any energy. What's the game plan? You mentioned earlier, where are the adjustments from J.J. Redick? Why haven't you made the proper adjustments coming out in the second half where your team is not executing and you don't seem to understand that the OKC Thunder are more than just SGA? There are other guys out there on the court. So what's been happening is, like I told you, guys like A.J. Mitchell have stepped up like he did last night and destroyed the Lakers. He was destroying Austin Reeves out there. And Austin Reeves, once again, having a problem getting his shot off and getting his shots right to go down because everything that the Lakers are doing, they're working for it. Everything is a working job because the Thunder are playing that deep.
Meg had a good comment earlier. If Mitchell was on LeBron's team, we still wouldn't know who he is.
Absolutely. That's a great point. That's a fantastic point. Absolutely. You wouldn't, like we mentioned
before I forget, I want to go back to that guy who wanted to celebrate that the series was closer than it was. Like, is this really is this your escape route for LeBron? That the series was closer than expected to be. You understand that the Thunder were playing like shit? Like, not really any reason to be proud that it was briefly close while the Thunder were terrible.
AOH, can you see the super on the screen?
AOH, I'm in Merced in the Valley. Let's grab a drink. That's a little far from me, but you know, some people have offered this in the past. get a drink in the city and whatnot. I appreciate that. That's a really kind gesture. Yeah, I probably will go ahead and remain anonymous with these fucking psycho cults that are out there.
Oh, that's funny. Yo, shout out to all you guys. Shout out to the Shane for coming through and hitting us up with the live this morning. Again, man, shout out to all you guys. Happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there. Like I said, it means a lot for you guys to spend some time with us this morning. Shout out to my main man, PMR Hoops. Shout out to him coming through. Sports and fitness out here educating more LBJ fans than the Akron school. Ah! Yo, man, that's a fantastic comment. Oh my goodness, that is gold.
Pineapple.
That's absolutely gold.
Pineapple mid-range, bringing it.
Oh my goodness. You guys all know PMR Hoops, aka McZuggins, always been here from the day one, man. Jump from us, always supporting us. He's got his own channel. Always got the great stuff. Very witty, man. You always got something really funny to say. I told you, it's amazing what some of you guys have, some of the things you guys have sent me, some of the things you guys say, the things you guys think about. Like I said, very creative minds from a lot of you guys. Like I said, really good stuff, man. Shout out to all you guys out there. So to continue to add to our live shows and continue to add to our channels, man.
Siberia's and Pineapple Mid-Range's channels are gaining momentum. They're gonna. Yep. I'm gonna hand the baton off to them when I retire. But they've got some good things in the works coming up.
Yep.
Worth checking out.
Yep. For real. Exactly.
And they've been great. They've been great supporters for a very long time.
Absolutely. Like I said, man, it's truly humbling. Like I said, that's what I always say, man, to see the same people, come back over and over again. Like I said, that's what really means the most to me, that I don't just see a bunch of random people showing up, to a live show or to my videos, that it's the same people that I see coming back. Because again, we must be doing something right. And you guys must appreciate, like I said, what we have to say and the things that we talk about over here. So like I said, that really means a lot, guys. Shout out to Mac S X7 for coming through. Says these young LeBron players don't bother me much, but these old head Glazers irk me to no end. Let's stop pretending these guys, modern players, are so much more skilled than the older generation. Yeah, absolutely. Shout out to you for coming through. Because we talk about the promotion a lot over here on the show on the lives. And that's really what it's about. The promotion of these players as being so much greater and more skilled and all these stuff over the guys in the past.
And thank you for that, Super, and for that comment. And, I want to clarify. I want to make sure that I'm answering this or responding correctly. You're talking about the old heads, like the guys that have been around who are now switching their tune and pretending like Wilbon being the latest. There's nobody left. What are you talking about, guys like that? These sports analysts that have been there and know better and then get on TV and lie because your new job is to lie?
Exactly, yeah.
That's upsetting.
Yeah, that is. And I've talked about that as far as, I go on a lot of other YouTube channels. I know that, you don't get into those kinds of things like I do. And I've called out other channels that claim to have been around and have, seen the game and know the game for many, many years. I challenge a lot of these guys. If that's the case, again, I've never came on here and told people that they should think that Michael Jordan is the greatest of all time. If you don't even think that there's a greatest of all time in basketball, I have no problem with any of this kind of stuff. I've told you, it's always been about the promotion, the lies, and the narrative, setting the record straight. If you grew up watching the stuff that I watched, I'm giving you the facts here. If you did, then you would know what they're saying about these guys. It's not true. You would know that. So you would feel a certain way about that. Not saying that you would make videos or you would become a content creator or you would even get involved in any of this kind of stuff. But you would feel a certain way about that because you would know that it's not accurate what they're saying. So when we go back and I tell you guys, I owe it to these guys that I watch. I owe it to them because I can. Once again, if I couldn't, then I wouldn't be here. But because I can, I do. So once again, I owe these guys this much because they went out there and they did these things that they're telling me that they didn't do. And that's the thing that the old heads are always talking about.
I want to go off on Wilbon and Frank Isola again. And shout out to my members and my Patreon people who were able to see this rant. I pointed out that they shit on Luka 2 times in the same chat. Luka hasn't played a game in the playoffs, and you're still talking about the guy on the bench instead of the guy on the floor.
Yep.
And they're talking about how Luka complains to the refs and doesn't get back on D, which we've already done multiple videos about. You're describing LeBron James. And as bad as Luka is, I'm not here to defend Luka because it is not great. He's better than LeBron. LeBron gets back less and has his hands up in the air even more. And while LeBron James is on the court in the playoffs with his hands up, I've got 5 minutes of him standing around with his hands up complaining in the first half alone of the game 2. And this is the game that Will Bond and Isola are talking about. Instead of talking about the guy who's actually out there with his hands up on right now, they're talking about a guy who had his hands up previously in the season and is sitting on the bench.
Yep.
Zero
Exactly.
accountability. Let's talk about the past instead of what's right in front of us.
And you have guys like Nola that are saying consistency, longevity, greatness. We will never see anything else like this. Even though you just listened to what my man AOH just said to you guys, or said to you about what we've seen from LeBron James and the excuses they continue to make, the excuses that guys like you make for LeBron James out there on the basketball court. Remember, I've said this many times over the last season. What they want from Luka Doncic, what they've talked about with Luka Doncic, essentially is this. They want Luka Doncic to be Michael Jordan. They want him to be the leading scorer of the NBA, which he was this season, but also be an elite level defensive player. Who is that? That's Michael Jordan, man. So they need LeBron James to not only have the leading scorer in the NBA and one of the best playmakers and one of the best players in the NBA, he has to also be one of the best defensive players simultaneously. It's not like Luka Doncic is giving you like 15 points out there on the court and he's not really doing much. You're like, hey, man, we need you to at least play defense out here. He's doing everything that you need him to do. He's doing what Luka Doncic does. It's like the Anthony Davis thing we talked about. All of a sudden now Anthony Davis is injury prone. Oh man, Anthony Davis, he was already dead before he came to the Lakers, you fools. Don't use that as an excuse. So the consistency that you fools out here talk about, the consistent what? Losing? The consistent free agents and trades that he needs? The consistent flopping that we've seen? The consistent load managing that we've seen from LeBron James? The consistent losing that we've seen from LeBron James? The consistent, once again, narratives and lies that they create for LeBron James? You LeBron James fans are really, really sad. That's why I always challenge you guys to make your own videos. I dare you to put yourself on camera, fool, and make a video about LeBron James and explain it and break it down to us. You wouldn't do it because you can't.
Well, I don't even have to talk about LeBron. Let's talk about the personality type of someone who's willing to repeat what he hears, because you literally just sound verbatim like what the television said. You are a puppet with someone's fist up your ass. You're a parrot that was taught how to speak. None of these are real thoughts. They're not your thoughts. This is almost verbatim what you're gonna fucking hear Shannon Sharp or Nick Wright say, and they can't back it up. It's just glittering generalities, as they call it in the marketing. It sounds great. It's not real, but it sounds great. Well, hey, good for you for repeating what someone else told you to say.
Exactly. That's all they got. It's the same talking points over and over again, consistently. And longevity. What longevity? LeBron James hasn't won an MVP since he was 28 years old. He hasn't made an all-defensive team since he was 29. He's 41. So where's the dominance over the longevity when you haven't played all the games? You've been missing all these games. So like we said, the consistency is you missing games, and your team is consistently losing. Again, they've been in the play-in more than they've been in the finals. I mean, what are we talking about here? From the Lakers, from LeBron James. How many trades again? How many coaches has he consistently needed throughout his career? The man's got 4 coaches in 8 seasons on the Lakers. That's 1 coach every 2 seasons. So by that metric, JJ Redick is up. This is his last season. This is for him by that metric. He's already due for another coach, and maybe next year.
We've never seen anything like this. Well, there's some truth to that. This has been consistently embarrassing. This is gonna be his 4th sweep. This is gonna be his 4th sweep.
Consistently airballing, right? I mean, he's still doing these kinds of, I mean, if you were in the league this many years, and you're talking about the brilliance of LeBron James and the greatness of LeBron James, we have to respect and really appreciate what we're witnessing. Then why are we still witnessing air balls at the free throw line? We shouldn't be witnessing this stuff, but we still are. Why are we still witnessing no accountability? Why are we still witnessing LeBron James not make the right play at the end of these games in year 23? Why are we still seeing LeBron James stand on the other side of the basketball court with his hands on his hips? I mean, what are you talking about here? That's not greatness. That's not consistency. That's not brilliance. That's not something we should be appreciating. We shouldn't be. That's what you guys are not really fans. You're only a fan of LeBron James. You guys can talk about Michael Jordan and talk about us all you want, man. I'm bringing you the facts here. You're not a fan of basketball. You're not looking at the reality here. You're making excuses, man. You guys are not living and dealing with the facts. So when you talk about appreciate greatness, do you think that's greatness? Will you see LeBron James do the basketball court, the video footage that we put out there? My man Airways breaks it down beautifully for you guys. He's holding your hand through this, my man. Go watch the videos. He's holding your freaking hand here. Press the play button. That's all you gotta do. And open your freaking eyes and you'll see what we're saying. That's not something we should be appreciating.
Yeah. Hey, when I'm done here, I'm going to go home and I'm going to break down that rebound that DeAndre Ayton got blamed for. And please explain how what I show isn't true.
Yep. Exactly. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Explain why LeBron James is missing wide open shots on plays that are called for him.
Yep.
Is that consistent greatness? It's embarrassing. Consistently blowing it when this team needs him the most. Consistently being the guy who should not have the ball in his hands.
Yep, exactly. Shout out to MJ Burke 1 for coming through. Says OKC is averaging wins by 19.67 points per game, even with SGA not playing particularly well. I guess that's the ref's fault. Exactly. Right. More excuses.
Did you watch my first period breakdown? I know I finally got the second period.
Yes,
public. I did. What did you think about those calls that I was pointing out in the first period? Forget the second period. Let's just talk about the first period for a minute, because I'm only in the first half and it's insanely bad calling the other direction, in my opinion, contrary to what the conspiracy of rigging it for the Thunder indicates. How
are you talking about the shoves in the back?
Well, that's one category. You have to break it down into categories of the
yes. That's why I said the shoves in the back, because like you mentioned, there's different kinds of fouls that we're seeing out here. Listen, the Lakers have been getting away with a physical style of game. The OKC Thunder have been allowed to play a certain level of defensive physicality against the Lakers. So I don't really get the argument here. And again, the Thunder have earned a reputation for being a high-level defensive team.
You're younger than I am. When you were playing, was the arm activity, the arm wrestling and the shoving, was that starting to pick up, or was that still not allowed while you were playing?
Now, listen, I always try to speak about basketball, or I try to sometimes reference basketball or make a specific reference to whether I'm talking about, playing organized basketball or we're talking about playing in the street. All right, because when we're playing it, like, there's two different things. There's two different styles, man. All right, there are a lot of people that never played organized basketball. They never maybe played at their school or something like that, right? Or maybe they never played in a league with a referee, let's say, so to speak. But they played, out in the streets. I told you, my dad never played organized basketball, quote unquote, organized basketball. Right? My dad never played in a league or played in school. My dad played in the streets. All right, I told you, my dad played in the playgrounds. That's what my dad grew up playing. So when you talk about, a style of play or how you play or what the game is like, to me, the game is always going to be more physical on the streets. I mean, and where I've played, it's always going to be a much more physical style of play on the streets. Because pretty much, like I've told you guys many times, the way that I played, the way that the people that I played with, where I grew up playing, it's basically, you call your own fouls, but no one really calls any fouls because no one wants to be seen as the soft-ass dude that keeps calling fouls. See, this is part of the stuff that we talked about, Edwich, and you talked about as many times. You always bring up these great analogies to how you play out in the parks. and we talk about these kinds of things. That's how we play. Like, you didn't want to be the guy that's always calling fouls. Now you go out and I remember just last summer, I'm out playing, right? I'm playing 3-on-3 with some guys I never met before. I was out there on the court shooting around by myself. They came up to me, asked me if I wanted to run. I was like, yeah, no doubt. So I'm playing ball with these guys, right? And one of the guys on the other team, it was almost like they set me up to guard the other guy because I guess he was like the better player, out of the group of 5, they needed an extra guy to run. So this guy's out there, doing all this fancy stuff, doing all these kinds of things against me, right? And I'm playing tough defense against this dude. And every time this guy goes to the hole and I'm rub against him, he calls a foul. He's calling everything out there. So I'm like, damn, man, this is what we doing out here? So on the other side, he's guarding me as well. Man, sometimes I'm going in there doing my thing. This guy's slapping me in my arms. He's doing 10 times more physical stuff to me and doing worse spot fouls than me. But I'm not calling it. So at one point during the game, now we've played several games now. We played about 3 games in a row now. And this guy continues to play this style of game. So at one point, I go to the hole, and this dude cleans my arms. I mean, he rakes me right across the arms, and I would not even call this normally. And I went to the hole, and I said, listen, man. I was like, listen, I'm calling a foul on this. I was like, if you're going to keep playing this way and you're going to keep calling fouls on the other end, man, I was like, then damn it, I'm calling fouls. So I'm like, this is getting crazy, man. I'm like, you got to be kidding me out here. I'm like, I'm out here playing and you out here calling every little foul. Yo, I don't play like that. But now, this is how everybody play.
Yeah, there's that. But I was actually talking about organized ball. And I was curious if that has changed. And I'm talking about dudes just 2-hand shoving people to get space, like coming up even to the top of the key. I remember things starting to change. And I'd be at the top of the key and some dude ran out and just shoved me in my chest and then sprinted off somewhere. I'm like, what is happening? It's like, this isn't how I was coached. I don't remember this being part of basketball, this 2-hand shoving to create space. In fact, I was taught if you're resorting to using your arms, then you aren't moving your feet. You got to play defense by moving your feet and moving your body, not trying to make up for it with arm wrestling.
No, wait, I mean, you're on the money with this stuff. I mean, like you said, listen, when I played organized sport, I think a lot of things that we talk about and we reference back to our own personal experiences. That's why I tell you guys, I'm giving you perspective. I'm giving you my perspective off of the facts, how I see them, off of my experiences playing basketball wherever I was. And one of the things that I always remember is the kind of game that I played. All right, I'm not tall, right? I wasn't one of the tall guys out there. I played the point guard position. So in my style of game, was to play a penetrating style, dish off down low to guys off the penetration, maybe kick it out to somebody. And I was known for being a scrappy defensive guy, a guy that's going to use, my quickness and my athleticism to create steals on the defensive end, to get close onto guys on the perimeter and being one of those kinds of guys on the defensive end. No, I'm not going to go out there and score 20, 30 points or any of those kinds of things. But I remember me trying to play the game that I played. One of my favorite moves was the triple threat position and using the jab to the right and going left because I'm left-handed. So oftentimes guys would play me thinking I'm right-handed. So they would allow me to go to the left hand. So I would often jab right and I would drive left and I would finish with the left hand many, many times. I could do the same move over and over again until people realized, wait a second, is this guy left-handed? But I also remember many times during these high school games when I was getting called for travels repeatedly because every time I would drive and they would say I dragged the other foot, they would say I didn't put the ball down before I took the next step. They called this stuff very, very tightly. That's what I remember about the officiating standards of when I was in high school in the late 90s, right, playing basketball.
It's almost a topic in itself, the difference, how things have changed. You talked about how uncomfortable it was to call a foul, even when it was a foul. And I understand. I don't like calling fouls either. And I got hacked a lot. I was underneath the rim where I didn't belong, but that's where I liked playing. Yeah. And I don't like it. It was obvious. You just hope that the other guy is decent enough to at some point be like, hey man, I keep fouling you. My bad. And now it's changed from that sort of 2 different types of integrity and decency to calling everything shamelessly. just whining the entire game instead of the mentality of avoiding whining because that's embarrassing. We've gone from the mentality of whining is embarrassing to whining is celebrated. That, man, where do you continue that conversation?
I mean, listen, you talking about some fantastic stuff right now, and you making me think about so many different things about, they say just how we think about this stuff. When you think about being a competitor, I mean, think about one of the ways that you can be or get really, or makes you or forces you, excuse me, to be really competitive when you're talking about playing basketball. Let's think about on the street in the park, for example. There are often times when you go to the playground, you go somewhere, and in order for you to stay on the basketball court, you got to win. And if you don't win, you might have to wait a long time to get back on the court. Guys, I've been to playgrounds. I've been to places. Like I told you, I've been all over the place, man. And I remember I've been to so many gyms and so many playgrounds where if you don't win, you're never getting back on, man. You're never getting back on. And you know what's really funny about? There are a lot of times where I've been to playgrounds, where I went to parks, right? And you put on a show, you do something in the game, maybe your team loses, but another team saw you play and they wait for you and they pick you up. You know how many times I've been picked up, y'all, when I would have to wait to get back for hours or I would have never got back on? But dudes recognize real. I told you guys this. And they were like, yo, man, you want to run on our team? And I've got back on the court that way many times, man. So you're a competitor. You have to be competitive because if you lose, you ain't getting back on the court.
We've been old man ranting for a while. How are the supers doing? We caught up?
Oh, yeah, we got to get back into these supers, man. I see some people out there dropping some supers, man. Again, shout out to you guys again on a Mother's Day morning. Uncle Rico's Revenge. LeBron is like the Emperor's New Groove, but instead of being a llama, he's a jackass. That's his angry. He's a jackass like Draymond Green. Shout out to Uncle Rico's Revenge. Shout out to what we got here. LeBron POW ends me. Oh my goodness gracious, man. Listen. Listen, man. Listen.
What?
Guys, listen, AOH. I want to say something, AOH. You asked for this, AOH. You asked for them to donate to the live. You asked for this, and you shall receive. Now we are getting bombarded with LeBron pounds me. We got hit before with humps Bron. We doing this on Mother's Day. We doing this on Mother's Day to LeBron James fans. He pounds me. Come on, man.
Geez.
See, Michael Jordan fans don't do this stuff, man. Basketball fans don't do this. Let's read it off, though. Let's read it off, Airways. Hold on a second here. LeBron brought Hollywood to the NBA. What player has done that? Kyrie Irving grew up watching and copying LeBron, and SGA likely imitates LeBron.
Let me tell you something. There's good Hollywood and there's bad Hollywood. So let's understand that. Next, you're going to say he brought Hollywood to Hollywood. Like LA didn't exist until LeBron went to LA. I mean, they claimed that they needed LeBron James for ticket sales. Jesus, the Warriors suck ass, and Curry's still outselling LeBron's jerseys. People. Hey, some of these had better be on my channel, because if we're reading these clown things, I better get a little bit of that money. I don't want to suffer through this for nothing. That was part of the stipulation. You got to pay for us to read the stupidity, but not if I'm not getting paid. Oh my God, LeBron pounds me. You gotta wonder if they're this is fake and they're just trying to be funny.
See, when I tell you guys oftentimes in my videos, I say the same thing over time, right? I tell you guys that the LeBron James fan base is a bunch of kids, right? And I don't really necessarily mean that in a negative way or in a bad way. We were all children once. We were all work, right? We all grew up now. So what I mean, when I'm saying that, is that to me, there can never really be a grown up, an individual that grew up, that understands what it means to be an adult in this world. And you can really get behind someone like LeBron James. I just don't see it. So when you see comments like this, when you see the titles of some of the channels, when you see something like, LeBron, whatever, all this stuff, then it really helps and puts that in perspective that I'm telling you guys. This is what I mean. There's no grown up behind this stuff. You think that a grown man really sat there and did this? No, man. So this is why no one's wearing LeBron James stuff. Right? This is why LeBron James gets booed when he goes out in public. He's getting booed by the grown-ups. The grown-ups are booing him.
You hope it's not a grown up, because he said something at the beginning. It was okay to be a child as long as you grow up, but I don't think these people are growing up. And LeBron James is a good example of someone who had excuses made for him and was surrounded by yes men, and that prevented him from growing up.
Exactly.
And now he has a following. He has a following of people who adore lack of accountability.
Exactly.
All right. Sorry, go ahead. I'm done.
No, I mean, like I said, I'm just so, this is hilarious to me. This is actually fantastic because, again, this is putting a lot of perspective on a lot of things I tell you guys. So shout out to the LeBron James fans for coming through today and really giving us, a glimpse into how they, look at things. Shout out to Praise to Don for coming through. Sports and Fitness Rant and AOH, stopping the lies and narratives. That's why we're here for you guys, as always. He comes through again and says older, quote unquote, fans like lion ass Chilltown. Exactly. That's what I'm talking about. Someone like him who claims to be an older generation fan, and he will tell you that LeBron James is the greatest player that he ever saw as an older, fan of basketball. Crazy stuff.
Weird. Absolutely
weird. OG Strong, shout out to you for coming through. He says, no way more skilled, a bunch of cardio queens. You're right on the money with that. Shout out to you for coming through, OG Strong. Skill. That's how they promote it out here. Shout out to Max X7 for coming through again. He says, if your argument is, I hate, quote unquote, hate on LeBron to get in line, the line that says, that's not an argument. Show me a time in Jordan's career where he came close to melting down and refused to play defense. Exactly. Absolutely. Shout out to Max X7 when they talk about this as hate. We're not hating here. These are the facts. We're breaking down the game to you, man. Once again, you guys asked for the Michael Jordan. You want the Michael Jordan comparison? Then we're going to give you the Michael Jordan comparison. That's what you're getting.
Thank you, Max.
For real, you ain't ready for the Michael Jordan comparison, LeBron James fans. They not ready. Shout out to Good Serious RTP for coming through. Longevity and greatness, my ass. EPO Leroyded, NBA, Nike, and media perpetrated this fraud over decades. Absolutely. They've been hyping LeBron James up from day one. Day one. We all know LeBron, like I said, it's all going to come out eventually, man. You guys know that. Shout out to PMR Hoops for coming through. Shout out to can you read that, NH?
Too kind, gentlemen. We're trying, but you all set the bar high. Cheers. Look at the old school guys being humble and complimenting each other.
For real. Once again, man, showing and proving how gentlemen, how grown-ups act out here and conduct themselves. Shout out to the real Donald Trump for coming through. Says, why are the Laker fans and the Lakers complaining about the refs when the Diddy showed SGA how to flop? LeBron showed Austin Reeves how to flop. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
And like you said, anyways, they're blaming Luka Doncic.
I could go down to the Castro district today and see guys more masculine than the team that just beat LeBron James. If LeBron's that guy, he should have not let his ass get whipped by the Zesty Thunder. A fucking cadaver. Charles Barkley called Durant a cadaver. But Holmgren is more cadaverish than Durant.
Oh my God! Listen, that's the truth. All right, because the funny thing is, when the real Donald Trump talks about the Laker fans, the Laker fans that are doing any complaining about this stuff are not the real true Laker fans. These are the fake Laker fans that are, masquerading themselves, or the LeBron fans masquerading themselves as Laker fans, right? Because how many times do we really see the LA Laker fans out there talking about how LeBron James has hijacked their franchise, hijacked the team, that they don't really enjoy watching the games with LeBron James on the team. So he doesn't really bring anything for those true fans out there because, again, LeBron James' game is basic, boring, bland. He continues to low manage on the Laker fans. He continues to flop around in the Laker uniform. And he continues to do a lot of these weird things on the basketball court that we see him do over and over and over again. I posted one video of LeBron James last night. He was doing like a new dance move or something. It was like he was going to go help on a double team, but he wasn't sure if he should have helped on a double team. And he was caught doing some weird herky-jerky move. It's just very weird stuff that LeBron James does. We talked about the blowing on the hands. I mean, guys, like the NOLA guy earlier, the LeBron James weirdo. Like, what are you really thinking, or what goes through your mind when you're watching a game? I mean, if you guys even watch LeBron James games, which I doubt you do, when you're always seeing him blowing on his hands and wiping his chest all the time, like I don't like. Isn't that weird to y'all? Don't y'all think like, yo, why is this guy always doing this? Like he should spend more time playing defense and actually watching the game than always blowing on his hands and wiping his chest so much. It's just like this weird, really weird mannerisms on LeBron James, and the things that he does are low IQ plays. He just makes a lot of mistakes oftentimes for a guy who's considered the smartest basketball player in NBA's history.
And I'm going to rip on Skip Bayless for being one of the main culprits for pushing that. He always says that.
He does. You're right. Absolutely right, Airways. You're right to call him out. That's what he always said. He's so smart. The highest IQ of any player ever. Really? So Skip Bayless, again, this is what we're talking about. Like, you know what bothers me? Like sometimes when they say these kinds of things, the way they promote a lot of these guys, and I tell you about the burden that's on someone like a Skip Bayless, these guys who are broadcasters, who are supposed to be analysts, they're supposed to be experts on the game. They're getting paid as experts. I'm not getting paid to be an expert. Hey, wait, you're not getting paid to be an expert. We're not getting paid to be experts and give expertise, our expertise here. All right? I'm giving you context and perspective to the nonsense these guys are telling you. But when Skip Bayless comes out and talks about the IQ of a LeBron James, and when a lot of these other guys come out and talk about how great these players are in this aspect of the game, they never tell you about the other great players because that's the burden that they're not giving you, the proof that they're not giving you. Instead of saying this guy's the greatest at XYZ to highlight how great this guy is, they have to say he's the greatest ever. I've never seen this before. What they used to say back in the day, guys like Hubie Brown, who I talked about in a recent video, they would say, I haven't seen someone play like this since so-and-so. I haven't seen someone play the game since so-and-so did this, or so-and-so was playing this way. Oh, I remember what's his name back in 77. Oh, you remember what's his name back in 82? He was that's how they talk to you. It wasn't, hey, this guy's the greatest. I've never seen anything like this. They would say, damn, I ain't never seen it since Oscar Robertson. You know, I ain't seen no one do this since Jay West. I ain't seen no one do this since Will Chamberlain. I ain't seen no one do this since Wills Reed. I ain't seen no one be like this since Walt Clyde Frazier. They would mention the other guys that they remember who it reminds them of. That's the burden that's on these guys. You don't have to say that these guys are not as good as the guys in the past or they're not on par. What you do is you say, hey, this guy's one of the greatest offensive guys I remember playing this way since Hakeem Olajuwon. Now you have guys like Shaq saying Victor Wembanyama is the first perfect center. Why not just say he has a chance to become the first perfect center or to be a guy like a Hakeem Olajuwon or a Will Chamberlain or a Kareem Abdul-Jabbar or whoever you would think would be considered the overall perfect center in your mind up until that point. But instead, we jump off the cliff all the time.
Yeah. Particularly strange to hear Shaq do that.
Yeah. Yup, exactly.
You know what else they're doing, though, when the announcers mention the past and the guys from the past, they're also helping the audience understand that the game has a history and there might be something worth going and learning about. When you don't even mention the past and you just pretend like right now is everything, it's disrespectful to the past, and it doesn't do the viewers any favors, because if you are a true fan of the game, you should probably want to learn more about the game and the history of the game.
Exactly. And I'm going to say that, which is really sad. I saw something from Old School B-Ball. Once again, shout out to the YouTube channel, Old School B-Ball. I saw something he posted. I think it was yesterday it might have been either yesterday or this morning. I can't remember when it was. And he posted a screenshot. I think it was maybe yesterday of a post of that ESPN had put out, right? And they were promoting Victor Wembanyama. And we have no problem with the promotion, of these players. But we told you it's the kind of ways that they promote them. But what he was highlighting in the promotion from ESPN in this moment was how they did not, or they failed to recognize the players before the merger, right? Yeah. And I told you guys all the time growing up, that when they used to promote the guys from the 80s and the 90s that I was watching growing up, Michael Jordan even, they always had an asterisk there. I told you guys, the asterisk was always there, and more often than not, it was there because of Wilt Chamberlain. So they were always acknowledging the guys before the merger. So they gave them their proper respect. So they would say, yeah, Michael Jordan did XYZ. But we have to remember, guys, it's since the merger. Now they'll just put these things out. And that's what he was highlighting, that they didn't even give any connotations to the guys in the past that weren't afforded these same kinds of luxuries. They didn't keep the same stats. So when you say he's the first guy or the fifth guy in NBA history, but you don't put the asterisk there, that's the burden that you failed to meet. That's the burden that's on you. You have to put that asterisk there because that's the only way a kid like me would have known this growing up when I didn't have a cell phone and a computer and I didn't have all this stuff at the touch of my fingers. That's how you educate people. How are they supposed to know to look into the history of the league when you think, oh, he's the fifth guy in NBA's history, when in actuality, yeah, he's the fifth guy since 76, right? You have to think and break this down for the people out there.
I want to talk about Draymond Green because he represents part of this problem. Draymond Green, similar to his boyfriend LeBron, will go up there and instead of giving credit to the past, announce to you that he is the best of this, he's the best of that. I mean, that already tells you a lot about his type of people, anyone who follows a Draymond Green. Now we'll take that further, and Charles Barkley supposedly disrespecting him by saying that, things come to an end. It's
Right.
over.
Yep.
I don't know what's unreasonable about saying that.
Nothing.
But if Draymond disagreed with that, if Draymond actually believes in his mind that things should last forever, then provide an argument that explains why you don't agree that things should come to an end. Instead, like these fanboys do, they front like tough guys, and then they become victimhood, childish, feminine insulters. But, let me attack you personally. I have no comeback, so let me attack you personally. Dude, that's so embarrassing.
That's a fantastic point that you brought, Airways, because I was thinking the exact same thing when I was listening to the interaction between Charles Barkley and Draymond Green. When I heard the response from Draymond Green, and then I saw what elicited that response, I was like, why didn't he go that low on Charles Barkley when all he really said was the truth and really just said nothing that was insulting? When he said, listen, y'all had a fantastic, he actually said y'all had one of the greatest runs in the history of the game multiple times during that interaction. And somehow you took disrespect or a slight on that. I don't understand. And again, when he talks to Charles Barkley in the way that he does, it's not as if he's coming from a place like Shaquille O'Neal, who we've seen disrespect Charles Barkley on the set. It's Shaquille O'Neal. It's a certain level that Draymond Green's nowhere at. So Charles Barkley should never have to take that level of disrespect. So I heard you mention, and I feel the same way, ESPN should never allow Draymond Green to come on there and disrespect and put him in a position to disrespect Charles Barkley to that regard, up to that level, knowing that he's not, like that, and they have some kind of personal beef between them.
Draymond Green's reputation, his bad behavior on the court was already a reason not to have him on. I felt that way before this disrespect. The disrespect itself isn't the reason that I was like, don't ever let him on again, because then that looks like you're afraid of him coming on and speaking his mind. He never deserved to be a talking head on television. But let's talk about Charles Barkley's response. He just was like, yeah, okay. And, he didn't get up on his feelings and start personally insulting Draymond back because he's mature and he's secure with himself. And that's, sometimes that's difficult because if you're in the heat of the moment, even you and I who know what the proper behavior is, it's pretty tempting to go at somebody personally or drop a insult on them. I hope that the young people listening understand that Barkley behaved the way that you should behave. And I'm sad to be able to predict without even looking that fanboys out there are probably saying that Draymond cooked Barkley. He behaved like a embarrassing child, and you all think that it's cool. That's disturbing.
See, the problem for someone like Draymond Green and a lot of the LeBron James fans, I mean, all the LeBron James fans, is that they don't have the facts on their side. See, that's a problem. When you hear LeBron James fans crying and moaning about, well, y'all get personal too. You get personal. No. The LeBron James fan base is the fan base that started the fact that Michael Jordan played against slow white guys. How much more disrespectful can you get when all of a sudden you boil down an entire era of NBA basketball players to white guys that are slow because they're white? Not because they were slow. They're slow because they were white. That's LeBron James fan base. Y'all started this kind of stuff. You said that Michael Jordan played against no great players. So you were the ones that were making it a personal attack on an entire era of players, not just Michael Jordan. I have an entire playlist on my channel. I'm almost at episode 70 of personal comments that LeBron James fans have made to me over the years. Personal comments. I've had them threaten my family. I've had them say things about wishing I would die. I mean, this is what I've never said that about LeBron James on here. I've never said that about his fan base. I've talked about how stupid his fan base is because that's the facts. You guys are ill-informed and you're not up on the facts. And you guys have never played sports. You guys are not adults. You're a bunch of kids that cry and moan and repeat the same things over and over again. So when you talk about making a personal attack, you guys live in that realm. That's all you guys have. That's why I challenge you guys to make videos. You can't make videos because you can't break the games down or break down the history of that game.
Yeah, again, they're out there running their mouths, and if someone responds, then they play the victim card. Yeah, it's an important point that the old heads didn't start this. We never felt threatened that our era of basketball was, in fact, actually inferior. This new generation is up there running their mouths and unnecessarily being disrespectful and insulting while we're looking at an inferior product. It was bad enough to have to watch an inferior product, but the inferior product paired with them always on TV, running their mouths, complimenting themselves in addition to disrespecting other people. And people finally are like, no, hold on. And then you're like, oh, you're hating on us. We're responding to your nonsense. We're not randomly attacking you. We're responding to what you did. You don't get to just act a certain way and run your mouth and get no pushback. You get to play the victim card when there's pushback. You brought this on yourself. I bet your dad told you before, in your time, I bet you brought that on yourself, or you got to take what you had coming. Not always, it wasn't always your fault, but there's times where we had shit coming to us, right?
I'm thankful for the ass whoopings.
Yeah. Did your dad bail you out when you deserved an ass whooping?
I got my ass whooped, man.
Huh?
I said I got my ass whooped a lot, man.
Did you?
But again, I've said many times, like you're talking about AOH, I deserve those ass whoopings, man. I told you, me and my brothers were bad, man. We were bad, y'all. We were some bad kids, man. I told you, man. We was out there doing stuff. I told you. That's why my mom ain't take us to McDonald's. Because we were bad, man. We were always doing stupid stuff. I told you, we be in freaking cow doors, knocking over the clothing racks and doing all kinds of stupid stuff, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, you guys know that, man. Being Buster Browns, knocking over the shoe rack. We be in Pathmark, making a mess. Yo, we be doing all kinds of stupid stuff, trying to put our hands in the lobster tank. Yo, I mean, just dumb things when we were kids, man. So, when I talk about ass whoopings, I always told you guys, man, that's one of the things that I told you. It made me who I am. I earned them. My parents never abused me. I was never beat for no reason. I was beat because I had to be beat. You need to get your ass whooped. Thank you, Mom and Dad. Thank you, Mom, on Mother's Day for whooping my mom whooped my ass till I was about 13 years old. And then she was like, yo, I'm passing this over to your father. And the ass whoopings continued till I went to the military, man. I was under curfew till I went to the military. All right. You guys have no idea what it means to the life that I lived. Yo, my dad and my mom, they ain't play no freaking games, man. No games.
Shout out to Sport and Fitness Rance's parents, because without them, we might have had another fanboy in our hands instead of some actual rational thinking here.
My dad, I remember one time my dad kicked me in my ass. Yo, he literally kicked me in my ass when I was 8 years old with some pointy ass freaking cowboy boots on, man. This dude kicked my ass hard. Guys, I remember this like vividly. I feel it right now thinking about it, man. And once again, man, me and my bros were wrestling around, right? And it was a 2-on-1 scenario, and we were playing with the pillows in the living room. And my brother, we were by ourselves, right? And my brother hit me, and I fell into the glass mirror, broke the mirror. When my dad got home, this man whooped my ass. And he kicked me. The last thing he gave me was a kick in the ass when I went to walk away from the ass whooping. He kicked me in the butt, man. Guys, I left the floor. I actually was in the air. I was 8 years old, guys. I left the air. I was in the air when I got kicked. He punted me, guys, like 2-3 feet. I'm not even lying about this. Right down the hallway. And I ran into my room, guys. Man, I'm telling you right now, man, these are the ass whoopings I was dealing with, man. My mom is a crazy Italian lady, man. She was whooping my ass with broomsticks. I was getting hit with shoes, all kinds of stuff, man. Are you kidding me? But I told you guys, I deserved all of that. I deserved it. Don't ever anybody think my parents are not cool like that. I deserved it. My parents will own the money.
Let's get back to some supers.
I'm sorry, guys.
Going
my
crazy.
Bad, man.
The old men are getting crazy.
Shout out to what's the name? Will N for coming through. Plot twist. The LeBron Pounds Me account is Rich Paul. I wouldn't doubt it. Would not doubt that. Because we know they be doing that stuff, the banana boat stuff, crazy. Shout out to Praise It Don. LeBron fans are fruity. They're literally gay. I mean, they be doing some stuff, man. I tell you, they be sleeping with the sheets. You guys seen some of the outfits they be wearing? LeBron James jersey dress. I mean, my goodness, man. They be wearing like the LeBron James pajamas. I told you, they're children, man. Come on, man. Stop this nonsense, man. I had people, LeBron James fans, making fun of my hat. This hat right here. You had people making fun of my hat, talking about, yo, I can't believe you actually wearing that hat. You look like a fool. And I just, see, these are things I'm laughing at when I talk about the LeBron James fans. They would never put themselves on camera and make a video, but then they'll talk about what I'm wearing, how I look, all this stuff, and then they turn around and say, yo, why y'all got to be personal? That's y'all, man. Once again, shout out to Aunt Weston for coming through. They don't want to be like LeBum. They want to be Savannah. That's right. It's sick, very sick. Keep mad, Bobby. You love what you do. Yo, shout out to Aunt Weston for coming through. I told you, man, they be putting out stuff, content. Yeah, man, I wish I could be Savannah for a day. Like, indecent proposal.
I was about to say, you're kind of like disrespecting actual homosexuals because they're more masculine than these fucking fanboys are.
Soft. They soft as hell, man. I told you, they soft as hell, and they out here trying to masquerade as real basketball fans. And every time you turn around, they're making an excuse. I told you, grown-ups, people who have grown up, I told you, we all make mistakes, man. We've gone through life. We make mistakes. We learn from this stuff. No one's going to make an excuse for you. There's no one going to make an excuse for you. There is nobody. I told you, man, the world don't want to hear it. Nobody wants to hear it. Nobody. We all got our own damn problems, man. And grown-ups know that stuff, man. They take accountability for what happens in their life. LeBron James can't even take accountability for what happens on a basketball court. He can't even take accountability for what happens on his own damn basketball team. Are you kidding me right now? He probably blames everything at home on his wife. His wife probably takes all the blame at home. Everything that happened. Oh, how come you ain't wash the dishes? How come you ain't take the trash out? How come you ain't do this? How come you ain't do that? How come this ain't done? How come you ain't do that? Everything probably goes on her. That's why she has to come out and call him the GOAT. I mean, it's weak stuff out here.
What else we got?
Once again, man, shout out to you guys. Shout out to Aunt Weston. We got Crazy Redbird 72 coming through. The longevity argument is interesting. Let me dispel that. Nolan Ryan played till 47, has the most Ks in history, and has thrown 7 no-hitters. Has he ever been considered the GOAT in MLB? No. Yo, shout out to Crazy Redbird. I don't know if you're actually a Cardinal, a St. Louis Cardinals fan, but shout out to the St. Louis Cardinals. They've been an excellent franchise throughout Major League Baseball history. They've had a lot of great players and great teams. So shout out to you for bringing up the Nolan Ryan comparison. When I was young growing up, Nolan Ryan was old when I was little, and he played till I was like a teenager. He played forever, man.
Yeah. And look, he did get shouted out for playing old, but correct. No one ever turned that into he's the best baseball player ever. He got shouted out for continuing to play while he was old and doing well. Otherwise, he wouldn't have still been playing. That didn't suddenly morph into, oh, he must be the best ever because he played for this long.
Right. And like you mentioned, Ed Waits, the important part that you said is that he was actually performing at that age, Nolan Ryan. He was still very good baseball, still a very good pitcher at that age, which, like you said, the reason why he was still going out there and being recognized the way that he was. So shout out to someone like Nolan Ryan and all the great things that he's done in his career. So again, like I said, shout out to Crazy Redbird for bringing that reference in. You know, we've also thought about guys like Jerry Rice that played a very, very long time and was very good late in their careers in a very tough sport like NFL football, in a very tough position like the wide receiver position in the era that Jerry Rice played in. I mean, what you saw from Jerry Rice was all the videos that we saw of Jerry Rice and doing his trainings, all of his workouts. What you saw was the residuals of all of that. You saw the actual tangible results show up on the football field for Jerry Rice all those years consecutively. He actually had true, real, legit longevity and durability and legit toughness, Jerry Rice. So he has the respect of a guy that played well late into his age for that kind of sport. Shout out to the real, who came through next here? The real Donald Trump, come out. A shout to you for coming through again. Prime Chuck versus Prime Triple Single. Who wins? And that's what Charles Barkley's saying. Dude, you're not even on my level, man. Like, it's not even close. Shout out to Lucian M5459 comes through and says, hopefully it will be over within the next 4 quarters of the next game, and we won't have to put up with these fools and their clown king. Salute. Shout out to you, Lucian. Yeah, you're right about that. It's looking that way. I told you, I just want to see if the Lakers are going to actually come out with some fire. Is LeBron James going to lay down? Is he going to make an excuse if the Lakers go down early? Are you going to go out there and fold it up and lollygag? You know, it's really funny to me that how come LeBron James didn't stay in late in the game? You know, last night when they were getting blown out, they brought all the reserves in. If that was a regular season game, LeBron James would have still been in there. He would have still been in stat chasing. He would have still been in there stat padding. But he didn't go and stay in there last night. Why? Because you're getting embarrassed. That's why.
Very good point.
You would have still been up in there, man. It's crazy, man. Shout out to Stan 2537 says LeBron James on the verge of getting swept for the 4th time in the playoffs or finals in his career. 3 were in his prime, and that doesn't count the 4 gentlemen sweeps. Absolutely.
Yep.
Shout out to Stan for coming through. You round the money with that. You know what's funny about you talk about the sweeps? Michael Jordan has never been swept in a 7-game series. Whenever Michael Jordan lost to the Boston Celtics or the Detroit Pistons, it was always in a 5-game series, a best of 5-game series. They were never swept in a 7-game series, never by the Pistons. None of these series was Michael Jordan, the Bulls, ever swept in. So when you talk about, you know, the competitive nature of a Michael Jordan, what he brought to the table, what he brought on the basketball court, he brought that never, you know, say never attitude, right? That I'm going to lay it on the line. I'm going to go out there and compete. Michael Jordan didn't need to activate a playoff mode. Like maybe LeBron James forgot to activate playoff mode. I don't know, whatever it is, but he needs to figure out something fast.
Yeah, I have over the years done several videos in which I point out that LeBron James is the common denominator with these failures when they were predicted to win. Siberius recently released something in which that was the main point of his video, LeBron, the common denominator of losing. And fanboys, all these years of making excuses, have you ever heard when everywhere you go, you say everyone else is the asshole, eventually you need to realize that you're the asshole? I mean, how long are you guys? You can't just keep looking away. Like these numbers are crazy. There aren't enough excuses for eight gentlemen sweeps or sweeps. And on the biggest stage, man. We're not talking about first round that people don't give a shit. We're talking about all eyes on you. You're expected to deliver, and you lose in the worst way that you can lose. Come on.
It waits, right? Man, you're saying it perfectly. And that's what we're saying. Not only are you losing that way, and then we watch the games and we see you not even competing from play to play, right? Remember, this is from play to play. This isn't just game to game or series to series. This is play to play. You get this from LeBron James, where he just decides to either stop running, stop playing, not rotate. How many times last night did you see LeBron James stand there where a player drives right past him and he doesn't even slide over to help play any help defense? He just stands there. And then he stands and watches everyone else fight for the rebound. And then if it happens to fall to him, then he's actually there trying to make some effort. I posted a play last night where LeBron James gets blown by Alex Caruso. He's just standing there lollygagging, and he watches Alex Caruso run right past him for a wide open dunk. This is more of the same.
That's exactly what I thought when I saw that clip on YouTube that is condemning DeAndre Ayton. LeBron James is standing relaxed, expecting the ball to land in his lap. If he had come forward a couple of steps and jumped, that ball is his. How bad do you want to win if you're satisfied to stand there and wait for the ball to come to you and just blame someone else when you didn't do? Let's not even say that it was his job, which I would argue it was. It's everyone's job. But, people want to use that excuse. Listen, if you really want to win, you do more than your job, not just your job. I don't want to hear about that wasn't my job and that you're also a competitor. Competitors don't say that shit. Oh, that wasn't my job.
Yep.
Well, congratulations. You're going home and you can say it wasn't your job.
Yep. That's Stephen A. Smith. Oh, LeBron did his job. He did his job. What is LeBron? What's funny when he says it, I'm trying to think in my mind. I'm like, what is LeBron James' job? Like, if you had to break it down for me, Stephen A. Smith, if you had to write it down, what is LeBron James' job description? I would love to know what that looks like.
Yeah, he did his job. I'm like, what? Is it standing in the corner? Is it not helping on help defense? Is it taking the easiest?
Exactly. Like, is his job not to be the leader? Is his job not to, like you say, get back? His job is not to hustle. Like, his job is supposed to be leading by example. His job is supposed to be going out there, laying it on the line, right? And having his team prepared to go out there and compete. Like I told you, against the defending champions in a game 3 of a second round where you guys are getting beat down. Once again, where's your sense of pride? Where's your sense of being like telling your team, listen, man, we have to go out here and go out there and play tough. And we have to go out there and show, listen, man, we ain't going to lay down out here. But instead, you get LeBron James lollygagging, giving up. Like I mentioned earlier, he's crying and moaning on the other side of the court with the Lakers down by 2 in the third quarter. Come on, man.
If you remove certain centers from history, like Shaq, but it's almost always a center. If you remove those guys, LeBron James is the worst free throw shooting superstar ever. Out of forwards and guards? Like, come on. How? Go see a therapist and come back the next season and make your free throws.
And LeBron James will be the guy that volunteers to shoot the technicals. Let me read off a couple more supers. I think we almost got all the supers. I think there's maybe one or two more left. We got one here. A shout out to Mind of the North Star for coming through. It says, it's funny how Draymond was talking about looking like Rockets, quote unquote, Rockets Barkley, while he's quite literally looking like 2026 Barkley. Yo, that's classic right there. In a TV studio talking basketball in a suit during the playoffs.
Wow.
Yo, shout out to Mind of the North Star, man. I told you guys, man, you guys are fantastic. You guys leave wonderful comments. You guys understand it. You guys get it, man. But I mean, Mind of the North Star, that's a fantastic comment when you think about the audacity of Draymond Green to literally be sitting there in a studio wearing a suit, looking like a big goof next to Charles Barkley, who hasn't played basketball in 20 years, man. Oh my gosh, that was classic. Fantastic. Fantastic. Charles Barkley said, he goes, if the Warriors were relevant, you wouldn't be sitting in the studio with me. All right? These are the facts. So, Charles Barkley, and we know and we all understand who Charles Barkley was. When Draymond Green says, and one of the things that bothered me that he said was he said to Kenny Smith, who said something in response to that, and he said to Kenny Smith, he goes, did you see what that looked like? And he goes, I saw it. No, you did not, Draymond. Draymond Green was 4 years old, man, when Charles Barkley was playing for the Rockets, man. All right, Draymond Green has no idea what the hell was going on in the 80s, in the 90s. These guys are so stupid, man. And you think that Draymond Green went back and watched the history and actually looked into Charles Barkley and what Charles Barkley was actually doing at that point in time in his career? No, he doesn't. He just looks on a piece of paper and says, oh, well, Charles Barkley wasn't Charles Barkley, so that means he was crap. It's the same thing they do for Michael Jordan, the Wizards. If you actually watched Michael Jordan on the Wizards, no, he wasn't Michael Air Jordan, but damn it, Michael Jordan was still good. He was good. But people tried, remember, Michael Jordan was plus both years on the Wizards. He was positive. LeBron James, do you think LeBron James would have been a plus playing on those Wizards teams? Oh, hell no.
Yeah. So Draymond is 36 right now, just so everybody knows. And I want to, not to be a dick, I'm going to, just for accuracy, correct exactly what the quote was. Kimmy was trying to soften things and said, what does that look like? It was like a nice way of challenging Draymond to describe, because he probably knew Barkley was better than Draymond at that stage in his career. And Draymond, being the coward that he is, didn't answer that question. He says, I saw it.
Yep.
Answer the question then, if you saw it.
Exactly.
He asked you what it looked like, not whether or not you saw it, which we know you didn't. Dude, if I could be the best basketball fan on the planet, and if I watched it at 4 or 5 years old, I don't have any recollection. Zero. You can't fucking watch that shit. Why you gotta lie? Disrespectful and lying.
And like I said, LWH, even if we say, or if someone were to say, well, he could have went back and watched this stuff or did XYZ research on this. Okay, yes, absolutely. There are a lot of people that are considered historians of time periods that they weren't around for. However, they're historians. They've done the research. So when you hear them speak on this stuff, they sound intelligent about it. No one's saying that we're going to agree on everything a historian is going to say about their view of the game and what they've researched. What we're talking about with someone like Draymond Green is that we can clearly tell that you did not watch this stuff and you did not do the research and you actually don't know who Charles Barkley was. Charles Barkley was still a good basketball player. And remember, he contributed to a Houston Rockets team. Like I mentioned in the video, they won several more games. They made an improvement in the win-loss record with Charles Barkley. They actually beat the Seattle Supersonics in the playoff that season in 7 games, the same team that eliminated them 4-0 the year before. So the Rockets were improved. Remember, John Stockton hitting the game-winning 3 in Game 6 to send the Utah Jazz to the NBA Finals, where maybe it could have went to an overtime and maybe a Game 7 scenario. So the Rockets were still a formidable team because of the addition of a Charles Barkley, not because he was trash, because he was like you, or I don't want to look like Charles Barkley. Once again, Draymond Green's best season is not Charles Barkley's worst season.
Okay, 2 things. Does Draymond Green strike people as the type of person who goes out and does his research? I mean, he's too busy running from losing a game to promote himself on a podcast. He doesn't even leave any time to go and actually learn about the past. 2, whether you think Barkley was trash or not, because apparently his numbers are way better than Draymond's, even when he was quote unquote trash, Barkley called himself trash. He's man enough to be like, you know what? I kind of regret those years. Yeah. And yet he was better than Draymond, but at least he has the security to say, you know what? I wasn't great. Not my best decision. Do you think Draymond has the cojones to say something like that about himself?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Draymond say
yeah, that was actually a great question. Shout out to Mind of the North Star. I see a couple more supers here, and then we're gonna get ready to wrap this up. It's getting a little bit late here. Once again, shout out to you guys for coming through. Shout out to we got Odephius or Odephus. Forgive me if I'm messing your name up. Says Golden State 16 through 18 would sweep the 90s Bulls. I don't even know where these comments are coming from today. Again, AOH asked for it, and now we're getting it. We're getting a lot of weird people donating money on the live show. Once again, thank you to you guys for coming through and getting educated. I don't even know how we're on the 90s Bulls and Golden State sweeping them somehow. But again, that's a LeBron James fans for you. This is what they do to try to take away from the Chicago Bulls and Michael Jordan when they have no facts. I would love for my man Odufus to go ahead and make a video. I dare you, Odufus, make a video about it. I'll wait for the video, tag me in it, and explain to me the 2016, 17, and 18 Warriors being the Chicago Bulls in a sweep. You see what I'm saying? Like, the LeBron James fans are so delusional. You couldn't just leave it at the Warriors would beat the Chicago Bulls. You said you had to go a step further and say they would sweep the Bulls. And that's why you guys are a joke of a fan base. Because there's nothing that you could provide that would show and highlight that they would sweep the Chicago Bulls of the 90s. All right? It just isn't, man, okay? Once again, this is LeBron James fan base. They just get all weird and emotional out here, but they never have any facts or historical perspective or context to give you out here. We're all dumber now listening to you guys today. Thank you very much for goofing the chat up today on a Mother's Day.
Yeah.
fools out here, man. Shout out to my man ATLian 1988 for coming through. The 2018 Warriors couldn't even sweep the damn Rockets, Spurs, or Pelicans. Thank you very much for following this up with the super to respond, so we don't have to do this right now, or Pelicans, but they're going to sweep the 90s Bulls. Dummies everywhere, I swear. Thank you, ATLian. Thank you very much.
Yes.
A great response,
Yes.
right on time.
Yes,
Right
the
on
teams,
time.
the teams that the Warriors faced on their way to facing LeBron James gave them more competition than LeBron James did. I did a video about that.
Yep.
That's wrap your heads around that one, fanboys.
Exactly. Like I said, this has been broken down many times, the Chicago Bulls and, these hypothetical what-if scenarios. And, a lot of people recognize and celebrate the Chicago Bulls, as the great team of all time or one of the great teams of all time. And there's a lot of teams, or there are several teams in those conversations. The problem for a team like the Golden State Warriors, we've talked about many times, and what these people continue to try to say, is that they're trying to make this argument not to give the Warriors any credit. I guarantee this person is not a Warriors fan, right? They're promoting the Warriors so that they can say, yeah, LeBron James lost to the greatest team of all time. The Bulls would have got swept by those guys. And that's the disingenuous nature of the LeBron James fan base, the media, the people who put these ideas out there, guys like Nick Wright and the Colin Cowherds, and they promote the Warriors teams. But when you actually look at the scenarios that broke down for a lot of those runs, it's not, like I told you, a comparable to the Jordan Chicago Bulls runs and the teams that they were going against, man. The Bulls faced stiff competition also.
Yeah, and they don't stop there. I mean, it's already crazy enough to pretend that the Warriors were the best team ever. They've called the Thunder the best team ever in order to try and make LeBron seem better. Shit,
Exactly.
Aren't they calling the old Dallas Mavericks a super team? I mean, they say some crazy shit.
No, you're right. That's true, AOH. You're right about that. Shout out to Stan2537 for gifting 5 Angry Old Hoops fan memberships, man. Shout out to Stan. Yeah, you guys, like I said, you guys are truly humbling, man. Shout out to JC DB7SO for coming through. LeBron only had 4 points in the third quarter. That's the quarter they were outscored 20-33. LeBron is not scoring when the team actually needs it. That's another fantastic point, because that's what we talk about, the lack of impact, right? You don't score when the team needs you to score. You score in these garbage points that don't mean anything.
Yeah. Yeah. They flip-flop and they'll be like, oh, well, the first periods matter. Well, not when it's another player. You don't have any problem criticizing other players for disappearing in the fourth period. It's only LeBron James that you suddenly think that the first periods were more important.
Yeah, exactly, LH. Right. Shout out to Little Greg 897 for coming through, a member for 1 month. Shout out to you guys, like I said, for coming through and helping support me and my man AOH. They trying to hold my man AOH down. Like I said, it means a lot. All right, I think on that note, I think it's been a great show, man. We've been on here for over 2 hours. I didn't even realize that. Again, man, you're having a good time with you guys. So, time flies. Is there anything else you want to add real quick, AOH?
Well, I'm going to thank you for hosting, because I've been jogging this entire time. So I've been out being physically active, and it makes me feel like I got a better start to the day. I can now go home and edit the footage with a clearer mind, because you guys let me get in my exercise while co-hosting with Sports and Fitness Rants here.
Yeah, man. AOH, I appreciate you again, man. Hitting me up last night, asking to join me this morning. Another great stream with you, my man. There's all the video footage. I look forward to you again breaking down the rest of this stuff and highlighting all the things that you continue to highlight for all the LeBron James fans out there, and for all of your true fans of basketball that continue to support your channel. Again, guys, man, I really appreciate you guys. Once again, happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. Again, like I told you, this show was for all the mothers out there. My mother, I said my wife, all the moms out there, man, grandmas, everyone out there, man. It really means a lot. We all appreciate what the moms have done for us. Like I said, anyone, you guys know, man, what it means. Again, I hope you guys have a good rest of your Sunday. Hope you guys are having a good weekend. And you guys know the deal, man. AOH, man, I'll catch you on the next one, my man.
Catch you next one. Thank you.
You guys be good.